everyone, and welcome back to our podcast. I hope you're all doing wonderfully. Today, we're diving into a comparison of two fascinating countries, Chad and Sudan.
Hey folks, Leo here. Mira, always a ray of sunshine, even when we're about to discuss places most people can't point to on a map. Glad to be back and ready to rumble.
Speaking of sunshine, you won't believe what happened to me last week. I tried to make my own homemade sunscreen. What?
Homemade sunscreen? Mira, are you trying to give dermatologists a collective heart attack? I'm picturing a kitchen explosion of coconut oil and zinc oxide.
Well, it wasn't quite that dramatic. But let's just say it involved a lot of turmeric. And now I look like I've been permanently bronzed by a very enthusiastic toddler.
So you went from sunshine to turmeric sun? That's a new one? Were you at least protected from the sun? Or just attracting bees?
That's the funny part, Leo. I think I was attracting more stares than UV rays blocked. Let's just say I'll be sticking to store-bought from now on.
Mira, you're something else. You're like a walking, talking science experiment gone slightly awry. That's why we love you.
Anyway, that's my embarrassing story. What about you, Leo? Anything hilarious happen on your end?
Hilarious is a strong word. I tried to parallel park a scooter last week. Let's just say the scooter is no longer, and the car next to it thinks it has been in a fender bender.
Leo, you? In vehicles, it's a match made in comedic heaven. Did anyone catch it on camera? We could make it a blooper reel.
Please, no. The world doesn't need to see my parking skills. I think it's best left as a cautionary tale. I may need to add some money to my Jet Off account, since a new car may be in order.
Okay, deal. No blooper reel. But you owe me a story about that scooter incident later. But for now, we have a show to run.
Agreed, Chad and Sudan. Here we come. If you are just tuning into YouTube, let's get this show on the road. Let's not make any more turmeric mistakes.
Hello, everyone. Today, we're not sipping coffee in a cozy studio. I'm recording this from my closet so my neighbor stops mowing his lawn. And Leo, I bet you're hiding somewhere exotic, sipping something questionable.
Mira, you know me too well. I'm actually in a surprisingly quiet corner of my apartment, shocking, I know. No exotic locales today, but I do have a suspicious-looking tea. Don't ask what's in it. So, Chad and Sudan, huh?
Think camel races meet ancient pyramids. But today, let's talk security. As in, how likely are you to lose your wallet or stumble into something less pleasant? Do you think that there is a good chance?
Well, Mira, let's not sugarcoat it. When you're talking about Chad and Sudan, general safety isn't exactly the first phrase that springs to mind, though general chaos might be more accurate. Ooh.
Chaos it is. But seriously, for our listeners who are thinking of visiting or maybe even relocating brave souls, let's give them the lowdown, starting with the official crime stats, or lack thereof.
Right, the official stats, which are about as reliable as a weather forecast written in crayon. But from what I can gather, petty theft is a concern in urban areas in both countries. Pickpockets, scans, the usual tourist traps.
Leo, are there even that many tourists to trap? I picture tumblers rolling through ancient markets. Though I suppose even one lost wallet is one too many.
Fair point, Mira. More like expatriate traps then. And yes, while it's not exactly Ibiza-level tourism, the few that venture there become prime targets. The real concern, though, is the potential for more serious crime linked to political instability and conflict in certain regions.
Ah yes, political instability, the ever-present party crasher. So, basically, do your research and avoid areas that the news anchors seem to be yelling about. Sounds about right.
Precisely. Think of it like a travel weather report. Avoid areas with active conflicts. Chance of unrest high. And keep a low profile. You're not there to make a statement, you're there to survive.
And perhaps snag a cool Instagram photo, carefully curated for maximum wanderlust, minimal lemonade warzone vibes. What about cultural factors? Does that play a role?
Absolutely. In both Chad and Sudan, tribal affiliations and local customs can heavily influence safety. What might be considered a minor offense in one place could be a major insult, or worse somewhere else.
Basically, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, but replace for offending the wrong person could get you into serious trouble. Got it. Any tips for our listeners on staying safe?
Common sense is your best friend. Avoid flashing wealth, dress modestly, and learn a few basic phrases in Arabic or French, depending on the region. And for goodness sake, don't wander off the beaten path without a local guide.
Yes. In picturing some rugged desert nomad expertly navigating treacherous terrain, or at least someone who knows which side of the road not to drive on.
Exactly. And stay informed. Monitor local news and heed any travel advisories from your government. Better to be safe than end up as a headline, right?
Couldn't agree more, Leo. So, the takeaway? Chad and Sudan aren't exactly Disneyland when it comes to safety, but with a little planning and a lot of common sense, you can minimize your risks. Next up, political stability.
Ominous indeed, Mira. Prepare for a deep dive into the thrilling world of coups, rebel factions, and the ever-present question of who's in charge this week. Get your helmets ready, folks.
Political instability next. We will soon arrive at the next comparison. It's going to be another exciting podcast. We are excited too. Thank you, Jetofe.
Absolutely. Thank you for listening. We will continue with the next comparison. Don't forget to hit the like button. And don't forget to check out Jet Off AI. See you.
Okay, Leo. Let's chat about political stability and social harmony. Cause nothing says move here. Like not worrying about whether your house will be caught in the crossfire of a coup.
Right, Mira. Because who needs a stable internet connection when you can have a stead? But seriously, folks, stability big deal. Especially if you're thinking of setting up shop somewhere.
Landlocked right in the heart of Africa. Now, its political scene has been, shall we say, dynamic over the years. Lots of history there, not all of its sunshine and roses.
Dynamic is one way to put it, Mira. Think more along the lines of Game of Thrones, but with less dragons and more. Well, let's just say it involves frequent changes in leadership.
You're terrible, Leo. But yeah, there have been long periods of one-party rule and, more recently, transitions that haven't always been super smooth. Wow.
More like a roller coaster without seatbelts. You have to respect the resilience of the people, though. They've seen it all, and they're still trying to make a life.
But that resilience doesn't always translate to stability for expats. Social harmony is affected too, because political tensions trickle down, you know?
It's like that saying, when elephants fight, the grass gets trampled. Except the elephants are politicians and the grass is, well, everyone else. It's sad, but it's a reality.
Jack's neighbor to the east. Another country with a very full history book. Political transitions, conflicts. Sound familiar?
Sounds like we're ordering the political instability platter for two. Sudan has definitely had its share of ups and downs, mostly downs, I guess.
Don't you mean, Leo? But seriously, civil wars, political unrest, and economic challenges that affect day-to-day life. It's not always a walk in the park.
A walk in the park where the park rangers are heavily armed and the benches are suspiciously comfy for a dictatorship? Yeah, not exactly my first choice for a Sunday stroll.
But social harmony exists despite all of this. Sudanese people have such strong cultural identities and a deep sense of community, you know?
They do, Mira. And that's what's so impressive. Even with all the turmoil, people still find ways to connect, to celebrate, and to support each other.
So, if you're an expat, what does this mean? Well, in both Chad and Sudan, you need to be hyper-aware of local dynamics, right?
Definitely. You to stay informed, avoid getting involved in local politics, and respect the cultural sensitivities. It's like walking on eggshells sometimes.
Walking on eggshells sprinkled with political landmines. But it's doable, especially if you have strong cross-cultural skills and a sense of adventure, I guess.
True, and if you're willing to learn the local language, you'll gain a deeper understanding and respect, which can make a huge difference in building relationships. It is important.
Now let's think about investments. Political instability can scare away foreign investors, right? Businesses want predictability.
You got it, Mira. Nobody wants to build a factory only to have it nationalized overnight. Political risk is a real thing, and it factors into every business decision.
Which means fewer job opportunities for expats too. Unless you're working for an NGO or some international organization specifically focused on stability efforts, right?
Exactly. And even then, you're operating in a challenging environment where security is a constant concern and progress can be slow and frustrating. Ouch!
Summing it up, political stability and social harmony are complex in both Chad and Sudan. Neither country is exactly a haven of predictability.
You're not wrong, Mira. Before you even consider a move, dig deep, do your research, and maybe, just maybe, this'll be for you.
And keep up with local news, talk to people who are already there, and maybe pack a good luck charm, just in case.
And don't forget to subscribe to this channel. And remember, Jet AI has this information available. We've got you covered, maybe.
Ready to dive into the world of wallets and wonders, Leo? Today we are talking about Chad and Sudan. Ooh, let's see which one is easier on our listeners' bank accounts.
Mira, my dear, wallets and wonders sounds like a terrible travel agency slogan. But all right, Chad and Sudan it is. Prepare for some potentially dry economic talk, folks. But I'll try to spice it up.
Spice it up like a proper African stew, I hope. So, Chad. Landlocked, mostly desert. I imagine the cost of living is pretty darn cheap, right? Or is it one of those everything has to be flown and so it costs a fortune situations?
Well, it's a bit of both, actually. Chad's economy is heavily reliant on oil, and that's been a roller coaster. The cost of living can be low in rural areas, but in DJ and Mina, the capital, is surprisingly expensive, especially for expats.
Wow, what makes it so pricey? Is it all those fancy French restaurants? I imagine there aren't too many.
Not exactly a Michelin star haven, Mira. It's more about the cost of importing everything you need. Housing that meets Western standards, reliable electricity, and even just decent groceries come at a premium.
Infrastructure strikes again. Ouch. So, what are we talking for rent? Can you even find a decent apartment, or are you stuck with glorified shipping containers?
Well, maybe not shipping containers. But expect to pay a hefty chunk of your salary for a secure apartment in a good neighborhood. Think several $1,000s a month.
Ouch. Oh, ouch. Okay, maybe Chad is not the budget destination I envisioned. But what about local food? Surely, that's where you can save some money.
Absolutely. Local markets are your friend. Millets, beans, vegetables. You can eat well for relatively little if you embrace the local cuisine. Though, be prepared to haggle.
Haggling is my superpower. Okay, so Chad has a mixed bag. High costs for expats who want Western comforts, but potential savings if you live like a local. Now, let's hop over to Sudan.
Sudan. A land of ancient pyramids and complex political landscapes. I'd imagine the economy is even more unpredictable than Chad's.
Unpredictable is one word for it? Well, is it cheap? Is it expensive? Is it just confusing?
All of the above, Mira. Sudan has faced serious economic challenges in recent years with high inflation and currency fluctuations. This dramatically impacts the cost of living.
So, 1 minute you're rich, the next you're eating instant noodles for a month. Well, that's a scary thought.
Pretty much. Imported goods are expensive due to the weak Sudanese pound. Locally produced items are more affordable, but their availability can be erratic.
Erratic like my dance moves after too much coffee. So, it depends on the day, the week. The political climate sounds exhausting.
Exactly. Rent in Khartoum, the capital, can be relatively low compared to other major cities, but finding reliable housing can be a challenge, especially with all that dust.
Dust? Is that the main interior design theme in Sudan? I'm picturing some drifts in every corner.
You're not far off. But seriously, things like electricity and water can be unreliable, so factor in the cost of generators and water storage.
Generators and water storage sounds like you're preparing for the apocalypse, not just a vacation. Ouch! Is there anything cheap in Sudan?
Well, fuel is often subsidized, making transportation relatively affordable. Unlike Chad, embracing the local culture and cuisine can save you money. FUL me Danes, anyone?
Sounds mysterious and possibly delicious. I'm in. But overall, it seems like both Chad and Sudan require careful budgeting and a willingness to adapt.
death, not countries for the faint of heart, or those who require consistent lets. But for adventurous expats willing to embrace the challenges, there are opportunities to live affordably.
If you are heading off to Chad or Sudan, make sure to do your research and come prepared.
And maybe pack a generator, just in case. You can also visit Jet AI and ask our AI what it can get you an expert response.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, don't forget to tell us your opinions in the comments section. Accommodation in Chad and Sudan, huh? Sounds like a challenge cause I'm picturing vastly different experiences. Are we talking luxury tents versus, well, slightly less luxurious tents?
Mira, you're incorrigible. It's not all tense, though that image does have a certain comedic charm. Let's just say, G-lamping hasn't quite swept the region yet.
G-lamping in the Sahara sounds like a new reality show. I'd watch that. Wow. But seriously, what kind of options are actually available? Are we talking basic guest houses or something a bit more solid?
Solid is a relative term, my friend. In major cities like NDJ, Amina and Chad or Khartoum in Sudan, you'll find some hotels catering to business travelers and date workers. These might have air conditioning and Wi-Fi, if you're lucky.
Air conditioning sounds like winning the lottery in that climate. But what about for someone looking for a longer-term stay? Are there apartments or houses to rent?
Yes, but be prepared for a treasure hunt. Expat communities often rely on word of mouth and local contacts to find suitable housing. Websites like Jet can also offer some leads, but you'll need to verify everything carefully.
Aha! The digital version of knocking on every door. Oh, and I imagine the quality can vary wildly. Are we talking about places with running water, or are we back to bucket showers only?
Bucket showers might be a slight exaggeration. Slight. But don't expect European standards of plumbing. Consistent electricity and reliable water supply can be an issue. Especially outside the capital cities. Ouch!
Sounds like you need to pack your adaptability kit. Well, so, if you do find a decent place, what's the deal with leases and contracts? Is it all very formal and legal?
Formal is not exactly the first word that springs to mind. It's essential to have a local lawyer review any agreements before signing. Oral agreements are common, but definitely not recommended for expats.
Good advice. So, negotiate everything in writing even if that writing is on a napkin. What about the cost? Is it possible to find affordable accommodation, or is it all top dollar for anything remotely habitable?
You might find affordable options, but they might require compromising on quality or location. Luxury apartments, catering to expats, can be surprisingly expensive.
And speaking of location, I imagine some areas are safer and more convenient than others. Is it worth paying extra to be in a better neighborhood?
So I think that we can counter that. Absolutely, safety is paramount. Some areas might be prone to petty crime or have limited access to amenities. Paying a bit more for a secure compound or a well-lit area is worth it for peace of mind.
It's sense. It's hard to relax if you're constantly worried about your stuff. What about utilities? Are they included in the rent? Or are they extra headaches?
Expect extra headaches. Electricity bills can be unpredictable due to power outages and reliance on generators. Negotiate the terms clearly and be prepared for fluctuations.
Budget accordingly for the generator fund. Is there anything else people should know before diving into the Chad or Sudan housing market?
Patience, Mira. Patience, Mira. Patience. Finding accommodation can be a slow and frustrating process. Don't be afraid to ask for help from other expats or local contacts. And always verify everything before committing.
Basically, pack your sense of humor, your adaptability kit, and your local lawyer. Wow, sounds like an adventure in itself. Thanks, Leah. Alright, let's tackle visas, immigration, and all those official hoops you gotta jump through when thinking of Chad or Sudan. Sounds thrilling, right?
So I think that we can counter that. Thrilling like watching paint dry, maybe, but hey, someone's gotta do it. So, Mira, spill the beans show easy is it to, say, become a Chadian citizen? I'm picturing myself in a fez already.
Oh, okay. Hold your fez for a sec. For Chad, getting a visa can be a bit of an adventure. It's not exactly known for its streamlined processes, you know.
Adventure? You mean like an Indiana Jones flick where the treasure is a stamp on your passport? Sounds like fun, if you're into snakes and paperwork.
Pretty much. You'll need to contact the Chadian embassy in your country, fill out forms, provide photos, proof of accommodation. The usual song and dance.
Proof of accommodation? Does a tent count? Asking for a friend who's RELLY into roughing it.
I think they're looking for something a bit more. Permanent-ish. Hotel booking, a lease agreement, that sort of thing.
Gotcha. So, Sudan then, is it any smoother sailing over there? Or are we talking more reed tape and camels?
Well, Sudan's visa situation also requires some prep work. You'll likely need a letter of invitation, especially if you're going for anything other than tourism.
A letter of invitation? Eh? From whom? Like? Then I just invite myself? Dear Sudan, please accept this humble comedian.
I don't think that'll cut it, Leo. It usually needs to be from a company, organization, or a Sudanese citizen who's sponsoring your visit.
Sponsorship, you say? Suddenly, I'm feeling very popular. Maybe I should start a Sponsor Leo to Sudan campaign.
Good luck with that. Once you have the invitation, you still need to get the visa from the Sudanese embassy, and it's best to apply well in advance.
Advanced planning? That's like asking a cat to fetch. But point taken. What about immigration for those who want to stay longer?
Long-term stays mean navigating the local immigration offices, which can be challenging. You'll need a residence permit, which requires a valid reason to stay, like employment or investment.
Investment, huh? Huh?
Ooh, it would be cool if you could actually get a permit by investing in a drug factory. Seriously though, the process involves lots of paperwork in French or Arabic, so brush up on your language skills.
French and Arabic. Got it. Time to dust off my Duolingo app. What about Sudan? Same story.
Sudan's residency permits also require a valid reason and a lot of paperwork. Employment, study, or family ties are usually the key.
Family ties? Does marrying a camel count? Just kidding. Sort of.
Yeah, you're incorrigible. As for official procedures, both countries can be a bit bureaucratic. Patience is definitely a virtue.
Patience? I thought that was just a word people use to torture comedians.
Wait, when it comes to bureaucracy, both Chad and Sudan require you to dot your I's and cross your T's. It can take time, so be prepared.
So, basically, pack your patience, your sense of humor, and maybe a good book for all the waiting.
And maybe a phrase book just in case. Oh, and don't forget to like this video if you're planning on traveling.
Don't forget to like this video. Wow, so if the viewers like this video, the bureaucracy will also be less, right?
Okay, let's dive into health services in Chad and Sudan, shall we? This should be interesting, especially seeing it all through expat eyes.
Absolutely, Mira. Get ready for a ride. I imagine expats landing in Chad or Sudan might feel like they've time traveled, maybe not to the future.
Leo, always with the jokes. But seriously, let's get real about Chad first. Access to healthcare there as well, a challenge. Ouch.
A challenge is putting it mildly, Mira. Whoa. It's more like an obstacle course with hurdles made of limited resources and sprinkled with a dash of logistical nightmares.
Rural areas especially have very few facilities, and those that exist often lack staff and equipment, even basic stuff. Ouch.
Don't forget about the infrastructure, Mira. Whoa, getting to these places can be an adventure in itself. Think bumpy roads and questionable transportation. Yikes.
Tell me about it. For expats, this means needing to plan ahead big time. Having comprehensive medical evacuation insurance isn't just recommended, it's vital. Wow.
Vital is an understatement. It's like having a golden ticket out of a Wonka factory that's, less than Willy Wonka is.
Okay, enough with the dark humor. Let's move on to Sudan. Is it any better? Spoiler alert, not by much.
No. Sudan mirrors Chad in many ways, limited access. especially outside the major cities. Under-equipped facilities sounds familiar?
Yes, both countries suffer from a severe lack of doctors and specialists. It's a brain drain on a massive scale. Ouch!
A brain drain powered by a lack of resources and opportunities. If you were a doctor, would you rather have a stethoscope or a magic wand? 'Cause sometimes it feels like that's what they need.
True. For expats in Sudan, what's the game plan? Similar to Chad, top-notch health insurance is non-negotiable. Wow.
Agreed. And doing your homework on available facilities in your area is crucial. Knowing where to go in an emergency can be life-saving.
Speaking of emergencies, what about the quality of care? It's one thing to have access, another to have good access.
Quality, yes. The elusive unicorn of healthcare in these regions. In both countries. Expect variations. Private facilities, if you can find them, are generally better equipped.
But they're also pricier, which brings us back to the insurance point. You get what you pay for, unfortunately. Wow.
Exactly. And even in private facilities, don't expect Western standards. Sometimes modern is a relative term.
Right. Cultural nuances also play a role. Traditional medicine is still widely practiced, which can clash with Western medical approaches.
Clash is putting it mildly. Imagine trying to explain the benefits of an MRI to someone who believes a shaman can diagnose ailments by reading GoTentrals.
But you're not entirely wrong. For expats, navigating this requires cultural sensitivity and respect.
Absolutely. Don't dismiss traditional practices out of hand. There might be something to them, and at the very least, showing respect goes a long way. Wow.
True. What about sanitation and hygiene? That's often a big factor in healthcare quality.
Oh, sanitation. A topic that could fill its own podcast. In both Chad and Sudan, clean water is a luxury in many areas.
Which means waterborne diseases are a major concern. Expats need to be extra careful about what they eat and drink. Ouch!
And where they get their information. Conspiracy theories about water purification are rampant. Getting reliable info is key. Friends.
Speaking of which, what resources are available to expats looking for reliable health information?
That's where Jeddah comes in, Mira. We aim to provide expats with up-to-date information on healthcare facilities, insurance options, and cultural insights.
I knew I could sneak that in. And of course, there's always the good old internet, but verify your sources. Ugh.
Let your sources like their potential dates be skeptical and look for red flags. YouTube can only get you so far.
Excellent analogy. Also, connecting with other expats in Chad or Sudan can be invaluable. Sharing experiences and tips is a lifesaver. Wow.
So I think that we can concur that. It's like having your own support group of seasoned survivalists. Misery loves company, but information is power.
Okay, let's recap for our listeners. If you're an expat considering Chad or Sudan, be prepared for healthcare challenges.
Pack your medical kit, get that insurance, and brush up on your cultural sensitivity. And maybe learn a few GoTentrals reading techniques just in case.
Leo, seriously though, plan ahead, stay informed, and prioritize your health. Your well-being is worth it.
Indeed. And remember, a good sense of humor can also be surprisingly therapeutic. Laughter is the best medicine besides, actual medicine.
True, but maybe don't rely on laughter alone if you're facing a medical emergency. Find a real doctor.
Fine, party pooper. But hey, if you like our advice, remember to like and subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Jeddah. Hi-yo!
We're here to help you navigate the world, one podcast at a time. Hello everyone. Are we ready to talk about transport? I feel like singing a song about buses now.
Hold on, Mira. Are you about to break into a transportation-themed musical? No, save that for you to maybe.
Maybe? Everything is possible. Speaking of you two, if you're enjoying our podcast, please subscribe. It would make us really happy. We have more things to tell you. Transportation, infrastructure, and convenience. Where should we start?
How about the fact that in some places, convenience is a polite word for organized chaos. Like that time, I tried to hail a taxi and well, never mind.
You must told a story about your old travels. You love telling them. Let's dive into Chad. What's the scene like for getting around?
Chad. Well, let's just say their transport system isn't exactly winning any awards for most punctual. It's more of an adventure sport.
Well, like dodging potholes is a national pastime. Tell us more.
Okay? Imagine roads that moonlight as obstacle courses, unpublic transport running on Africa time, which is like whenever it feels like.
Ah, I love it. So flexible. But seriously, how do people get around? Are we talking camels and donkeys?
Well, not only camels and donkeys, though they're definitely part of the scenery. You've got bush taxis, which are basically shared cars that leave when they're full.
Full meaning like stuffed to the gills, Tepper style full? Oh,
Exactly. Think sardines in a can, but with more dust and questionable engine noises.
oh, you make it sound so romantic. What about Sudan? Are they in the same boat, or should I say bush taxi?
Sudan's a bit of a mixed bag. Khartoum has some semblance of a bus system, but outside the capital, it gets pretty rustic.
Rustic? Ah, is that code for bring your own suspension?
You read my mind. Dirt roads, river ferries that operate on hope and prayers, the whole sheba.
River ferries operating on hope, aha. I like it. Is there any railway action in Sudan?
Some, but it's mostly for freight, not exactly your high-speed bullet train experience. Think more like chugging along while you enjoy the scenery.
Enjoy the scenery while chugging on. Now I want to plan a trip. Back to Chad? Is there air travel for getting around?
N'Djamena has an international airport, but domestic flights are, let's say, not for the faint of heart.
Not for the faint of heart, woe. Turbulence and questionable maintenance?
Precisely, but hey, at least you get a story out of it, right? Like that time I was on a flight.
Leo. You and your travel stories. Road conditions. Are we talking paved paradises or dirt track dreams?
Mostly dirt track dreams, my friend. Though some main routes are paved, they're not exactly smooth sailing. Potholes left stuck, you name it.
Live stock on the roads. Ooh, so it's like a real-life version of Founder but with cows?
Pretty much, and the occasional camel. You've got to be alert, that's for sure.
So transportation is more of a challenge than a convenience. Got it. What's the takeaway here?
Pack your patience, bring a sense of humor, and maybe invest in a good offered vehicle. You'll need it.
And maybe write some experiences on Jet Off Air. You can learn and share experiences to tell everyone how it is.
Good point, Mira. By the way, if you're one of those organized people, don't go to those countries without planning carefully. And don't forget to like this video on YouTube.
Remember everyone, planning is very important. Also, if you like our content, you can tell us what you think in the comments. Ooh.
Indeed. This podcast is supported by Jet Off AI, by the way. Thanks to their help, we can tell you a lot more about other different countries. Wow!
And don't forget, when in doubt, hire a local guide. They know all the shortcuts and the best places to dodge the potholes. Alright, Leo. Let's dive into something that can remake or break a trip: language barriers. We're talking about Chad and Sudan today. How easy is it to chat with the locals? Ooh.
Mira, you know of a good linguistic adventure. Chad and Sudan. Two countries where ordering coffee could become a full-blown improv comedy routine. Let's see if our listeners are ready for this.
Sir Chad, officially it's French and Arabic, but get this, over 120 indigenous languages are spoken. That's like walking into a linguistic potluck where you only know two dishes. Whoa.
Wow, 120? That's not a language barrier. That's a language barrier. That's a language barricade. So, if you're just rocking French or Arabic, you might find yourself miming for everything outside the capital.
Miming is an international sport, Leo. But seriously, outside of N'Djamena, knowing Sahara or Mountain could be way more useful. Imagine trying to buy a goat with only your high school French.
I'd probably end up accidentally proposing marriage to the goat. Whoa, Alright, Sudan Arabic is the official language, but English is fairly widespread, especially in business and government. Aha!
Sudan sounds a bit more traveler-friendly then. Is it because of its history and the fact that English was used in education? I wonder.
That's the gist of it, Mira. Plus, you've got a bunch of other languages like Nubian and Bija kicking around. So, while you can probably get by with English and cartoon, venturing out might require some Arabic or a phrasebook.
Phrasebook Adventures new podcast title. So, if you only know English, Sudan seems like the easier bet, right? But what about cultural communication styles? Do they prefer directness of beating around the bush?
Good point, Mira. In both Chad and Sudan, like many places in Africa, communication is often indirect. Saving face and maintaining harmony are key. So, even if someone doesn't understand you, they might nod politely instead of saying, huh?
Oh, the dreaded polite nod. You think you're golden, and then you end up with a camel instead of a taxi. Oops. I guess it's important to watch for nonverbal cues, like puzzled looks or frantic hand gestures.
Exactly. And in Sudan, be mindful of hierarchical relationships. Address elders and authority figures with respect. Don't just barge in with, hey, what's up? Unless you want to side-eye.
I is a universal language, Leo. So, what's the expat experience like when it comes to communication? Do they struggle, or do they pick up the languages quickly?
I bet they struggle at first. Imagine moving to Chad and realizing you need to learn not one, but maybe 3 languages just to survive. Whoa. But expats are adaptable creatures. They usually find ways to connect.
Adaptable and armed with Google Translate. So, Chad might be a wild linguistic ride, while Sudan offers a slightly smoother entry point. It depends on how much of a challenge you're up for, right?
Absolutely. If you love diving headfirst into the deep end of languages, Chad's your place. If you prefer a gentle paddle in the shallow end, Sudan might be more your speed.
I love your water analogies, Leo. Let's wrap this up by advising our listeners to learn at least a few basic phrases before visiting either country. It shows respect and can open doors you never expected.
Totally agree, Mira. Hello, thank you, and where's the nearest coffee shop? Are essential phrases in any language? Let's be honest. Ooh.
Today, we're diving into a fascinating topic: cultural diversity and tolerance, comparing Chad and Sudan. It's like trying to decide between 2 incredibly complex puzzles. I hope everyone has their thinking caps on.
Mira, you make it sound like we're about to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. Chad and Sudan, huh? I'm already picturing endless deserts and fascinating tribal customs. Let's hope we don't get lost in the sands of cultural complexity, or this will be the shortest podcast episode ever recorded.
Don't worry, Leo. We'll navigate it together, like 2 camels on a quest for an oasis of understanding. We can start with demographic data. Chad has over 200 ethnic groups and languages. Wow.
200? Dude, that's like throwing a global party and inviting everyone. Sudan is no slouch either, with African identities, plus a whole bunch of tribal groups. The linguistic diversity alone must be mind-boggling. It's enough to make your head spin faster than a whirling dervish.
We need that energy to unravel the richness. It's like a rainbow of humanity, even if it sometimes clashes. In Chad, the Sahara people are one of the largest groups, mostly in the south.
Okay, so we've got the Sahara down south. In Sudan, you've got the Sudanese Arabs as a big piece of the pie, mostly up north. It sounds like we're setting up for a cultural north-south divide already. What do you think?
It definitely adds to the complexity. When we look at tolerance, history plays a big part. Both countries have seen periods of conflict and tension between different groups. Oops.
Conflict. Tell me about it. Sudan has got a rap sheet longer than my arm when it comes to internal strife, with the Darfur conflict in the North-South civil wars. It's like someone decided to play a never-ending game of Risk with real people's lives.
Chad, too, has had its share of political instability and clashes between ethnic groups, particularly in the east and north. The legacy of these conflicts makes building social harmony a real challenge. Ouch.
Social harmony? Sounds like a utopian dream in a region where reality bites harder than a desert sandstorm. Still, I guess there have been efforts at reconciliation. Any examples?
The Sudanese government has tried to promote national unity through various initiatives, though their effectiveness is debated. Chad has also worked on reconciliation through dialogue and power-sharing agreements. But progress is slow.
Power-sharing agreements. Sounds good on paper, but often turns into a Game of Thrones, where everyone is clawing for a bigger slice of the pie. What about grassroots movements? Any heroes on the ground tried to make a difference?
In both countries, you find local NGOs and community leaders working to bridge divides, promote understanding, and foster peaceful coexistence. It's like tiny seeds of hope in a vast desert, you know.
Seeds of hope. Nice image. But let's be real, Mira. Are these seeds getting enough water and sunlight, or are they just withering under the scorching heat of political and social realities?
Funding is often scarce, and they face resistance from those who benefit from division. But their persistence is inspiring. These are the people who truly understand the importance of tolerance.
Tolerance. It's like that rare flower that blooms in the desert only after a flash flood. So what's it like on the ground? Can you walk down the street in NDJ, Amina, or Khartoum? Feel the cultural diversity in action.
In cities like NDJ, Amina, and Khartoum, you definitely see the mix. Markets are vibrant melting pots where people from different backgrounds come together to trade. Music and festivals celebrate different cultures, but underlying tensions can still surface. Ooh.
Underlying tensions. The elephant in the room, right? So, it's not all sunshine and dreambows, but a mix of colorful traditions and simmering conflicts. What about personal stories? Any anecdotes that paint a picture of what it's really like?
I read about a Chadian teacher who started a peace club in his school, bringing together students from different ethnic groups to learn about each other's cultures and histories. He told them we are all Chadianess first. That touched me.
We are all Chadianess first. Sounds like a great soundbite, but does it resonate beyond the classroom? I imagine there are plenty of folks out there clinging to their tribal identities harder than I cling to my morning coffee.
Not an instant fix. There was also a Sudanese artist who used his music to promote unity and reconciliation, singing in different languages and blended traditional rhythms. His songs became anthems for peace. Ooh!
Music is a bridge. That's a powerful image. So, we've got teachers and artists trying to spread the message. What about the everyday person on the street? How do they navigate this cultural maze?
Many Chadian and Sudanese pride themselves on their hospitality and ability to coexist peacefully with people from different backgrounds. But prejudice and discrimination still exist, particularly against certain minority groups.
Prejudice and discrimination. Always the ugly side of the diversity coin. So, it's not just about celebrating colorful traditions, but also tackling the deep-seated biases that can fuel conflict.
Both countries need to address issues like access to education, economic opportunities, and political representation to ensure that all groups feel valued and included. Aha!
Access to opportunities, the great equalizer. So it's not just about tolerance, but about creating a level playing field where everyone has a fair shot. Any glimmers of hope on that front?
There are some initiatives aimed at promoting inclusive development, but progress is uneven. Corruption and mismanagement often hinder efforts to improve the lives of communities.
Corruption and mismanagement, the usual suspects. So it's a complex picture, Mira. Cultural diversity is a reality, but tolerance and social harmony are still works in progress, hampered by historical conflicts, political instability, and economic disparities.
It's like a garden where some flowers are blooming beautifully, while others are struggling to survive. Both Chad and Sudan have a long way to go before they can really claim to be inclusive and tolerant societies.
Well, as always, we've managed to scratch the surface of a very complicated reality. I guess the key takeaway is that cultural diversity is a beautiful thing, but it requires constant effort, vigilance, and a whole lot of understanding to genuine tolerance and social harmony. What do you think?
Can maybe a sprinkle of humor can help along the way. It's like adding a little sweetness to a bitter reality. Don't you think? Let's remember to check our website, Jet. It is a guide for our podcasts.
You said it best.
Don't forget to leave a comment on YouTube, friends. Also, if you liked it, you can like it. See you.
See you.
Sulio, shall we delve into the scholastic side of Chad and Sudan? It's like comparing to different textbooks, isn't it?
Absolutely, Mira. Let's see which one has the coolest diagrams and the most surprising pop-up facts. I'm already picturing a few educational plot twists.
In Chad, the literacy rate is, shall we say, a work in progress. It's like trying to learn calculus from a mime. The effort is there, but... ouch.
Ah, yes, Chad. It's kind of like finding a dusty old treasure chest where the treasure hunt is more about basic survival skills.
But hey, Chad's investing in innovative teaching methods. Think of it as educational improv. They're making it up as they go, but with heart. Oh,
True that. It's like they're saying, okay, resources are low, but our spirits are high. Gotta respect that hustle. Ah!
now Sudan has a slightly higher literacy rate, but still a ways to go. It's like a student who aced the first test, then took a nap.
Sudan, the country that's almost top of the class, but keeps getting distracted by shiny objects outside the window. Gotta focus. Sudan, focus.
And student test scores. Well, let's just say it's not winning any academic decathloness. It's more about life skills than textbook marks.
You know what they say, why bother with algebra when you can haggle like a pro in the market? Street smarts are undefeated.
Speaking of languages, French and Arabic are key in Chad. It's like ordering a croissant while simultaneously bartering for a camel. Multilingual skills. Ooh,
That's a proper Chad move. Multilinguals isn't just a skill, it's a superpower. Whoa.
primarily speaks Arabic, but English is also making waves. It's like adding a dash of spice to a traditional dish.
English is that one exchange student who's trying to fit in with the locals but can't quite nail the accent. Bless their heart.
As for language schools, in Chad, you might find yourself learning French under a mango tree. Talk about ambience.
That's the tropical classroom vibe. Makes you wonder if they grade you based on your mango picking skills.
Sudan offers some language centers, but they're not exactly on every corner. It's like a hidden treasure hunt for the linguistically inclined.
So basically, if you want to master Arabic in Sudan, you'd better befriend a local quick. Time to make some study buddies.
Do you guys agree with us? I think if you are looking to start an educational journey, you must know this. Check our chat off AI for related articles and information.
If you're interested in the same subject and want to learn more about it, let us know by tapping the like button and subscribing to our YouTube channel.
In summary, Chad is all about resourceful learning in a tough environment. Education there is a badge of honor. Ooh.
And Sudan's trying to level up its educational game, but it's still figuring out the cheat codes. Progress is progress.
Before we move to the next topic, what do you think we can discuss for the next broadcast?
Why don't we explore and compare the healthcare system in Chad and Sudan? Let me know your thoughts and we can get started.
And everyone. So, let's jump right into comparing Chad and Sudan. Climate and seasonal conditions. Eh? Sounds like a weather report gone wild. What do you think, Leo? Ready to swap parkas for pith helmets?
Mira, you're already setting the scene. Pith helmets, eh? Well, let's dive in. But first, someone get me a coffee. This could be a long, hot conversation. Literally. I need that caffeine boost so this podcast exists, First, let's cover the basics, Mira.
Absolutely, yeah. So Chad, being landlocked in Central Africa, has mostly a hot, dry climate. The north is Sahara and super scorching, while the south is more tropical. Think you can handle 45 degrees Celsius? Because you'd better be ready.
So I think that we can conquer that. Ouch, 45 degrees Celsius? That's intense. I'm already sweating just thinking about it. Sudan is similar, also roasting, but it of a Reed Sea coastline that adds some humidity near the coast. Don't expect a tropical breeze, though. You'll just get humid heat and
Wow. Okay. So Chad is basically just seasons a dry season that feels like standing inside a pizza oven. And a short, rainy season in the south. The North. Sahara. Enough said. You can explore more about this on Jeddah for planning your next vacation, if you are into this type of thing.
Sudan also has a dry and wet season, but the wet season is a bit more pronounced than in Chad, especially in the southern parts. Khartoum, the capital, is basically a dust bowl for half the year, then suddenly floods.
Speaking of dust, Chad gets hit with the Harmattan, a dry, dusty wind from the Sahara. It covers everything in a fine layer of well dust. Perfect if you want that sepia filter in real life.
Tell me about it. Sudan gets the Harmattan too. That gritty feeling in your teeth is just a bonus cultural experience, right? No, not recommended. Get a face mask and eye protection? Ah!
But the Chad Basin around Lake Chad used to be way bigger, right? Climate change is really shrinking that lake. The lack of water is leading to fights between farmers and herders. Ouch.
That's right, Mira. Lake Chad's decline is a serious issue. Sudan is facing desiccation too, especially in the northern regions. It's not just about the land turning into a desert.
So if you're thinking of touring Chad, pack light, breathable clothing, a hat, and industrial quantities of sunscreen. And if you enjoy our podcast and would like to support us, just a like would make our day, haha. And for Sudan, pretty much the same advice applies.
Definitely pack light, and maybe consider a personal air conditioner. You might need it. Both countries are facing real challenges with climate change, which can make things pretty tough. You can find the details about climate change on Jeddah. You should check it out to learn more.
Do you think Chad is a bit harsher because it is landlocked? Maybe the ocean has a bit of a moderating effect on Sudan near the Red Sea coast. Wow.
So I think that we can conquer that. That's definitely a factor, Mira. Plus, Sudan has some highlands that get a bit cooler, providing some relief from the scorching heat, especially up in the Nuba Mountains or the Red Sea Hills. But trust me, bring sunscreen.
Wait, I want to add something there. I wonder whether the people who live there are adapted to that climate. Do they have special clothes or habits? What do you know about this?
Oh, that's interesting. People in both Chad and Sudan have adapted incredibly well to the heat. Think loose-fitting clothing often made from natural fibers and building houses with thick mud walls to keep the heat out. And drinking gallons of tea.
Speaking of this, I bet there are amazing sunsets because of all the dust in the air. Do you think you could see a green flash because of that? Wow.
Ooh, the sunsets must be epic with all that dust. As for green flash, maybe you need a really clear horizon, which might be tricky with the Harmattan. Still, worth a shot. Ooh.
Well, since we mentioned that, what about the animals? How do they cope with all that heat and dryness? Tell me.
Well, desert animals are fascinating. Camels are the obvious choice, but also think about desert foxes, snakes, and also think about desert foxes, snakes, and all sorts of insects that have evolved to survive with very little water. Plus, many animals are nocturnal to avoid the daytime heat. Well,
Next time someone complains about the heat, we can just tell them to be grateful they aren't living in the Sahara. Perspective is everything.
precisely. And if you're looking for an extreme climate adventure, Chad and Sudan are definitely on the list. Just remember that sunscreen and maybe a camel.
Shall we keep going? What's up next, Leo?
Absolutely. So far, we're good. But now what will we talk about?
Today, we're diving deep into the delicious and sometimes, interesting world of food in Chad and Sudan. Fasten your seatbelts, folks. It's gonna be a flavorful ride.
Flavorful is one word for it, Mira. I'm Leo, and I'm bracing myself for some potentially unique culinary adventures. Let's hope I don't need a hazmat suit for this food tour. Oh.
Oh, come on, Leah. Where's your sense of adventure? Remember, every dish tells a story, and maybe gives you a slight stomach ache. Speaking of stories, Chad's food culture is heavily influenced by its nomadic roots.
Nomadic roots? Eh? So, lots of dishes you can cook over a campfire while herding goats? I'm picturing a lot of grilled something? Am I close?
You're on the right track. Millet is a staple grain, and it's used in everything from porridge to flatbreads. Think of it as the Swiss Army knife of Chadian cuisine. Oh,
Millet, huh? Sounds wholesome. Is it at least served with something that tastes vaguely like pizza? I need some reassurance here.
well, not exactly pizza, but boule. A thick millet porridge is often served with a flavorful sauce made from okra, meat, or fish. It's hearty and filling, perfect for a nomadic lifestyle. Ah,
Okra and millet. Okay, I'm trying to keep an open mind. Is there any spice involved? My palate needs a little kick to get excited. Aha!
Chadian cuisine uses a variety of spices like chili peppers, ginger, and garlic. It's not bland, I promise. Plus, they often use yase, a sauce made with onions, mustard, and lemon.
Mustard and lemon. Now you're talking my language. That sounds like it could actually be quite tasty. Maybe I won't need that as mitsud after all. So,
Sudan shares some similarities with Chad, but it also has its own distinct flavors. Like Chad, millet and sorghum are staple grains. But their stews are where it shines.
stews, huh? Are we talking hearty, meaty stews that stick to your ribs? Because that's the kind of fuel I need for exploring.
Definitely hearty. Mergu, a spicy Sudanese sausage, is often added to stews for extra flavor. And they also use a lot of beans, lentils, and vegetables. It is nutritious goodness.
Spicy sausage? Beans and lentils? Okay, Sudan is starting to sound like my kind of place. Is there anything unusual that I should be aware of?
A Sudanese porridge is sometimes made with fermented sorghum. It has slightly sour taste that some people find interesting. Aha!
Sour porridge? Oh, I think that we can conquer that. Sour porridge? Okay, I'm back on hazmat suit alert. I think I'll stick to the spicy sausage stews. Thank you very much.
Don't knock it till you try it, Leo. But speaking of alternatives, both Chad and Sudan face challenges with food security and nutrition. What can they do?
That's the serious side of the story, isn't it? Food security is no laughing matter. What are some of the innovative food solutions being developed?
One approach is promoting the cultivation of drought-resistant crops like sorghum and millet. Also, investing in irrigation and water management techniques that will ensure a more stable food supply. Wow!
Makes sense. Gotta work with what you've got. Are there any community-based initiatives to improve nutrition?
Many organizations are working to educate communities about healthy eating habits and promoting the consumption of locally available nutritious foods.
Education is key, isn't it? Gotta teach people how to make the most of what they have. So, what's the takeaway here, Mira?
Well, Leo, Chad and Sudan have unique food cultures shaped by their history and environment. And while they face challenges, they're also working towards innovative solutions to improve nutrition and food security.
So, maybe I won't need that hazmat suit, but I will need an open mind and a strong stomach. Thanks for the flavorful journey, Mira.
Anytime, Leo. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And for more information and details, visit Jetoff AI.
Exactly. We'll see you on YouTube where you can leave us a comment about your favorite unusual food. Oh, and big thanks to Jetoff AI for making this podcast possible.
Today, we're diving into the heart of Africa to compare the historical, cultural, and artistic values of Chad and Sudan. Get ready for a fascinating journey.
Hey folks, Leo here. Chad and Sudan? Hi. Sounds like a geography quiz, but I'm ready to see what kind of comedic gold we can mine from this.
And maybe some sunscreen too, knowing how hot it can get there. Seriously though, these countries have incredible stories to tell. Have you brushed up on your ancient history?
Ancient history? I mostly remember what happened last week. But I'm sure there's some fun stuff to dig up. Plus, Jetoff AI can probably help if we get stuck on some dates. Ah!
Jetoff AI to the rescue. Okay, let's start with Chad. What comes to mind when you think of its history?
Deserts. Lots of deserts. And probably some camels. But seriously, I know it's been a crossroads of civilizations for centuries. Maybe some old pyramids.
Not pyramids exactly, but Chad is home to the Ian and Edi Plateau. A stunning UNESCO World Heritage Site with rock formations and ancient art. Then cave paintings galore. Ever try painting on a rock, Leah?
Only when I was trying to avoid doing my homework. But cave paintings, that sounds cool. Better than my stick figures anyway. Did they paint pictures of camels?
Probably. But also wildlife, daily life, and spiritual beliefs. It's like a window into the past. Wow, we should upload some images to our YouTube channel if we can.
Good idea. We can show off some real art instead of my doodles. So, Sudan. What historical treasures are we looking at over there?
Sudan has a rich history stretching back to the Kingdom of Kush, with its own pyramids and marrow. These are smaller than the Egyptian ones, but just as impressive. Oh,
Pyramids. Now we're talking. Pyramids. Now we're talking. So Sudan was trying to one-up Egypt? Did they have pharaohs too? This podcast is becoming a history lesson.
they did. And they had a powerful queen, Irina S., who famously fought off the Romans. Wow. Talk about a boss. We should make a video about her.
A warrior queen who took on the Romans? Now that's a story worth telling. Imagine her giving a press conference. I want to add a sarcastic sauce on top.
And Sudan also has ancient cities like Kerma, with fascinating architecture and artifacts. Whoa, imagine the stories those walls could tell.
Stories of sandstorms and lost civilizations, probably. I bet the tour guides have some good jokes, though. Hopefully better than mine.
Well, speaking of stories, let's move on to the cultural side. What's Chad known for culturally?
Besides being really hot, I'm guessing music, dancing, and some unique traditions. Maybe some interesting hats. Huh?
You're on the right track. Chad is a melting pot of cultures with over 200 different ethnic groups, each with its own languages, customs, and music. Oh, imagine the festivals.
200 ethnic groups. That's a lot of potlucks. I bet the local markets are pretty wild. Gotta love those weird street foods. This podcast supported by Jet Off AI is getting hungry.
Absolutely, and music plays a huge role in Shadian life, with traditional instruments like the kenda, a type of harp, and the kakaki, a long metal trumpet. Wow.
A long metal trumpet? That sounds like something out of a drive. Seuss book. Bet they can wake up the whole neighborhood with that thing.
And Chad also has a rich tradition of storytelling and oral literature, passing down history and legends through generations.
So, bedtime stories are a big deal. I can picture some wise old guy with a booming voice. Now that's what I call entertainment.
And in Sudan, culture is equally diverse, reflecting its location at the crossroads of Africa and the Arab world. What comes to your mind?
Besides more deserts and camels, maybe some cool architecture, some vibrant textiles, and a whole lot of hospitality. Am I close?
See, I'm fire, Leo. Sudan is known for its intricate textiles with vibrant colors and patterns. Plus, Sudanese music blends African and Arabic influences. Ooh.
So it's like a concoction that. So, it's like a cultural smoothie. I bet it tastes good, musically speaking, of course, unless they actually make a cultural smoothie. Whoa.
Maybe they do. And Sudan also has a rich tradition of poetry and storytelling, often performed during social gatherings and celebrations.
So, they're basically having a poetry slam at every party? I like it. I need to start crashing more Sudanese parties. Do they serve coffee?
Probably. And speaking of parties, let's look at the artistic side. What kind of art is Chad known for?
I'm picturing those cave paintings again, but maybe some sculptures too? And I'm betting they use bright colors? Am I psychic or what?
Chad is known for its traditional crafts, including pottery, weaving, and leatherwork, often using natural materials and vibrant colors.
Leatherwork in the desert? Makes sense. Gotta keep those camels saddled somehow. I wonder if they make leather jackets. I'd buy one.
Maybe. And Chad also has a growing contemporary art scene, with artists exploring themes of identity, politics, and social issues. Wow.
Art with a message? I can dig it. Maybe they can paint a giant mural that says, "Drink more coffee." That's a message I can get behind.
Art is just as diverse, blending African and Arabic influences, often reflecting the country's history, culture, and spiritual beliefs. Ah,
So more intricate patterns, bold colors, and maybe some calligraphy? I'm on a roll. Where's my trophy?
Sudanese art includes ceramics, wood carvings, and metalwork, often adorned with geometric patterns and symbolic motifs. Wow.
Sounds like someone was really good at math. I bet they could design a killer coffee mug. I should like this podcast. I should like this podcast.
Sudan also has a thriving contemporary art scene, with artists using various mediums to express their perspectives on Sudan, society and its challenges.
Art as a form of social commentary? Right on. Maybe they can paint a picture of me trying to explain quantum physics. That's a challenge. Ouch.
So, to wrap up, both Chad and Sudan have incredibly rich historical, cultural, and artistic values. Any final thoughts, Leo?
Yeah, I need a vacation to both countries. And a good guide. And a lifetime supply of coffee. Plus, I really should consider that leather jacket. This studio might just become your go-to spot for deciding which country should I live in.
Oh, thanks for tuning in, everyone. We hope you enjoyed this journey through Chad and Sudan. And don't forget to like and subscribe. It's just a click.
And thanks again to Jet Alfea for making this all possible. You guys are the best. See you next time, folks.
Bye for now. Oh. Alright, Leo. Let's talk about Chad and Sudan's natural beauty. I'm picturing vast deserts and maybe some hidden oases. Am I close?
Well, Mira, you're partly right. Deserts definitely play a big role, but there's more to it than just some dunes, though those are ripe for some good mirage jokes, I imagine.
Oh, okay. Hit me with the details. What are my sea landscapes in Chad and Sudan? I'm ready to add them to my imaginary travel scrapbook. Wow.
All right, for Chad, you gotta picture the Sahara Desert taking up a huge chunk of the north. Then you have the Tibesti Mountains with the Mikussi, which is a dormant volcano and the highest point in the Sahara. Sounds like a good spot for a comedy show, wouldn't it?
Oh, a volcano. That's way cooler than just sand. And a comedy show on top? I'm in. What about Sudan? What kind of geographical treats are hiding there?
Sudan's got its own flavor. The Nile River is key, flowing through the country from south to north. You've got desert in the north, like the Nubian Desert, but also fertile plains in the central regions. Kind of like Chad's chiller cousin.
Fertile plains in the Nile sounds like a good place for a picnic. Are there any crazy rock formations or waterfalls? I need something dramatic for my travel vlog. Wow.
Okay, Chad does have the lakes of Unaine, which are UNESCO World Heritage Site. They're a series of saltwater lakes in the middle of the Sahara. Pretty surreal. I wonder if they sell postcards there?
Saltwater lakes in the desert. Now that's what I call unexpected. Anything that screams adventure in Sudan? I'm ready to pack my hiking boots.
Sudan has the Biayuda Desert with interesting volcanic formations on ancient archaeological sites scattered around. It's like a historical scavenger hunt in a super hot box.
Ancient sites in a hot box. I guess you would have to bring a lot of water. Are there any forests? Or is it just shades of brown and beige as far as the eye can see?
Well, Chad has some savanna and woodland areas in the south, closer to the Central African Republic. It's greener and more lush than the desert, but it's not exactly a rainforest.
There's a little bit of green in the mix. I need something colorful for the photos. Does Sudan have any hidden gems like a secret garden or a rainbow-colored canyon? Ooh.
Sudan has some wetlands on swamps, particularly in the Sud region, which extends into South Sudan. It's a haven for birds and wildlife, but maybe not the place for a casual stroll without bug spray.
Swamps and wetlands. I'm definitely thinking more mosquito nets than selfie sticks. But what about the coast? Do either of them have beaches to relax on?
Sudan actually has a coastline along the Red Sea. It's not super long, but it has some coral reefs and diving spots. Maybe you can film an underwater comedy special there.
An underwater comedy special. Now that's an idea. Is Chad completely landlocked then? Poor thing? Oof.
Yeah, Chad is landlocked. Settle's landlocked, so no beaches, unless you count the shores of Lake Chad, which is shrinking by the way. A shrinking lake. Sounds like a sad country song, doesn't it?
Shrinking lake and no ocean views okay. Sudan definitely wins the coastline category. But overall, which country do you think has the more wow factor when it comes to natural beauty? Wow.
Sahara. Chad has the epic Sahara and the volcanic mountains, which are pretty dramatic. But Sudan has the Nile and the Red Sea coast, which are more diverse. I guess it depends on whether you prefer stark landscapes or a bit of everything.
Ooh, you're right. It's a tough call. I think I need to see them both for myself to decide. Road trip, anyone? This could be the next big series.
Road trip through the Sahara. Sounds like a recipe for comedic disaster, but I'm in. Especially if it means more material for the YouTube channel. If you like it. And if you like Jet Off AI, you can visit the page.
And don't forget to subscribe so you can see what happens if we make it to the Sahara. I already know the story would be crazy. Yeah, that's natural beauties and landscape. Next. Wow. Well, Leo, since we're talking about getting active, let's lace up our boots and explore what Chad and Sudan have to offer in the realm of sports, activity, and adventure.
Mira, are we talking about Chad? Chad, you're gonna send people to Chad for adventure? I picture folks arriving with their fancy hiking gear, only to be greeted by a cumulonimbus storm. This should be interesting, since many people will be unfamiliar with these two countries.
Oh, come on, Leo. Don't underestimate the adventure. Chad might not be the first place that springs to mind, but it's got some seriously cool stuff. It's all about that Lake Chad charm. You know, Jet Off AI always pushes us to broaden horizons, and it looks like we found a great place to do just that. What?
Ah, Lake Chad. A shrinking lake surrounded by complexities. I guess that's one way to describe it. All right, Mira, convince me, what kind of extreme sports can one find in a country that's mostly desert? Tell me about the Chad Olympic athletes.
Well, Chad might not be a winter sports paradise, huh? They do have a national football team, so, and they're quite passionate about it. Plus, wrestling is pretty popular too. But where things get really interesting is with the adventurous stuff.
Wrestling in the Sahara? I suppose that's one way to stay in shape when you're surrounded by sand. I can see the headlines now. Chad wrestler pins opponents, wallowed by sand dune.
You're incorrigible, Leo. But seriously, Chad has the ENNED Plateau, a UNESCO World Heritage Site with incredible rock formations, canyons, and natural arches. Wow, imagine hiking and rock climbing there.
Rock climbing in Chad. Sounds like a geologist's dream and a hydration specialist's nightmare. But I admit, those rock formations look pretty stunning in photos. Are we talking about extreme heat here? How hot does it get?
It's Chad, so yes. But think of it as a dry heat. Plus, you can visit the Guelta di Archaya, a desert oasis where you can see crocodiles. Whoa.
Crocodiles in the Sahara? Sounds like the plot of a low-budget horror movie. Crocodile then goes to Chad and regrets everything. All right, Mira, I'll bite. What about Sudan? Is it just more sand and camels?
Sudan has the Red Sea, which offers some fantastic diving and snorkeling opportunities. Oh, the coral reefs are pristine and you can see all kinds of marine life. And like we're always encouraging in our YouTube podcast, if you like it, you can like it.
Diving in Sudan. Now that sounds intriguing. I always pictured Sudan as just endless desert, but the Red Sea is a whole different story. Are we talking Jacques Cousteau level diving here, or more like watch out for the jellyfish diving?
The diving is excellent. The Sudan is known for its shipwrecked sharks and colorful reefs. Plus, it's less crowded than other Red Sea destinations. Wow, you can check out Jet Off AI page after you watch us on YouTube for additional articles on travel and adventure. If you like.
Shipwrecks and sharks? Now that's my kind of adventure. I'm picturing myself battling rogue waves and wrestling with sea creatures. It's like Pirates of the Caribbean meets Lawrence of Arabia. Wow.
And beyond the Red Sea, Sudan has opportunities for desert trekking, exploring ancient ruins, and experiencing the local culture. Plus, you can visit the pyramids of Maro, which are just as impressive as the ones in Egypt, but with fewer tourists.
Pyramids without the selfie stick hordes? That sounds like paradise. Imagine, Mira, just you, me, and a bunch of ancient pyramids in the middle of the desert. We could reenact scenes from Indiana Jones, IB&D, of course.
You wish. But seriously, both Chad and Sudan offer unique adventure experiences for those willing to go off the beaten path. You can experience something totally different from the usual tourist traps.
All right, Mira, you've almost convinced me. Maybe Chad and Sudan aren't just sand and camels. I might just have to add them to my list of places to get ridiculously sunburned and slightly dehydrated. But first, coffee, then planning.
Don't forget to tell our listeners to check out our YouTube channel and Jet Fait for more travel inspiration and tips. Ooh, maybe we'll even get some listener-submitted stories.
Absolutely, folks. If you've been to Chad or Sudan, drop a comment on our YouTube video and tell us about your adventures. And if you haven't, maybe this podcast has inspired you to add them to your bucket list. Just remember to pack lots of sunscreen and a sense of humor.
And if you liked this podcast, please consider clicking the like button. You can find all the details on our website, Jetofai. Thanks for tuning in.
Until next time, folks, stay adventurous and try not to get swallowed by a sand dune.
Our current topic. Let's move on. What are we talking about again? Oh yeah, nightlife and entertainment venues. Are we talking all night raves or, like, collide tea parties with accordions?
Tea parties with accordions. Wow, that's my kind of night. Though, if I'm honest, Mira, that sounds less like entertainment, more like my dentist's waiting room. But alright, let's see what Chad and Sudan have got brewing.
It's not exactly Isa, is it? More like a quiet Tuesday evening with a camel? But hey, that doesn't mean there's nothing going on. You just gotta know where to look.
A camel. You're selling it, Mira. You really are. Tell me, is there a cover charge to get into the camel? Does it serve tiny little cocktails? I'm picturing a very dry martini served from a saddlebag.
The camel's the entertainment Leo. It juggles dates while reciting poetry. Very avant-garde. Anyway, let's be serious for a second. In NDJ, Mina, Chad, you might find some bars playing music, maybe even a club or two, but it's pretty low-key. Boom.
Low-key indeed. So, if Chad is the quiet camel, what's Sudan? A slightly louder camel, or perhaps a donkey with a drum kit.
Officially, strict Islamic laws mean nightlife's pretty restricted. Aha! But you know what they say, necessity is the mother of invention. And super secret dance parties.
Secret dance parties. Ooh, now we're talking. Are we talking speakers IES with veiled entrances and coded knocks? Do I need a secret password? And more importantly, does the password involve the word camel?
It involves the phrase "the desert blooms at midnight." And yes, sometimes there are underground parties in Khartoum. Wow, you gotta be in the know. Word of mouth. Very hush-hush. Oh.
Desert blooms at midnight. That sounds like the title of my next stand-up routine. Seriously though, it sounds like these parties would be pretty amazing. Are we talking about, like, really cool Sudanese music? Or bootleg Britney Spears?
Bootleg Britney with a Sudanese twist. They remix everything. Oh, and there are cultural events. Performances. Storytelling. It's not all just raving. Wow.
Storytelling. Wow, that's interesting. So, instead of a DJ, you get a dude with a microphone reciting ancient poems. Do they have, like, slam poetry competitions? It'd pay to see that.
Slam poetry with drums. Picture it. And there are festivals, though they're often more traditional, celebrating local culture. Aha! It's about finding joy in community, even with limitations. Aha!
Okay, so Chad is find your fun where you can, and Sudan is find your fun if you can find it. Got it. So, are there any legal ways to have a good time?
Yeah. In Chad, you can find restaurants that stay open late, offering music and food. Wow. It's more of a social scene than a nightlife scene. In Sudan, similar. Cafes are popular, but they usually close relatively early.
So, Chad's restaurants are the last bastion of legal fun. And Sudan's cafe shut down before the camels even finished their first round of dates. I think him getting a handle on this. What about movies? Do they have theaters?
Chad has a few cinemas, mostly in NDJ and MENA, but the selection might be limited. Expect a mix of African films and maybe some international hits. Spain might be more of your interest. Ooh.
Limited selection, so. Like, you get to choose between Chad the movie and Chad the Electric Boogaloo. I'm kidding. So, Sudan, what about the silver screen?
Sudan also has cinemas, but censorship can be an issue. You won't see anything too controversial? Think Bollywood musicals and maybe some historical dramas.
So I think that we can character that. Censorship in Bollywood. That's a combination I never thought I'd hear. In picturing a heavily censored Bollywood musical where the main character's dreams of maybe holding hands are brutally cut.
It's a cultural experience of restriction, but hey, people still find ways to enjoy themselves. They're resourceful. Maybe they have Bollywood karaoke instead.
Karaoke. You had me at karaoke. Sure, you're looking for a wild night. Chad in Sudan might not be your first choice. But for a unique, cultural, EU-rich experience, maybe with a side of camel juggling or underground Britney Spears, they might just surprise you. Am I?
It's all about perspective and finding the hidden gems. Plus, think of the stories you'd have. I partied with a camel and Chad Trumps. I went clubbing in Ibiza any day.
It does. Well, Mira, this has been enlightening. I'm now seriously contemplating adding camel juggling to my resume.
Our current topic, we compare family-friendly environments and children's activities into countries. From welcoming parks to engaging museums.
Well, Mira, you know I usually travel alone, so kids stuff isn't exactly my forte. But let's see what Chad and Sudan exactly my fourth... let's see what Chad and Sudan have to offer families, shall we?
N'Djamena, the capital, has some green spaces like the National Museum Gardens. It's simple, but a place for kids to run around.
Gardens are good free entertainment. I bet the kids make their own fun. Any organized activities for the little ones? Or is it all DIY?
It's more DIY, Leo. You know, a bit back to basics. Parents bring toys, and kids play football. Very simple. Oh.
Okay, so bring your own entertainment. Got it. What about Sudan? Is Khartoum a kid's paradise? I imagine not.
It has parks along the Nile. The Blue Nile Sailing Club has some space for kids, though safety standards might be different than what we are used to.
Different safety standards. That could be a comedian's goldmine right there. I'm joking. So less emphasis on safety regulations. More on letting kids be kids.
Well, you know, resourceful parenting. Sudan is known as a tourist hub with kids, so the infrastructures are scarce. Ah.
Right. So, are there any museums or kid-focused attractions in Chad? I'm sure the culture may be fascinating, but what can a child see?
The National Museum of Chad has artifacts, but not designed for children. It's more look, don't touch. Ouch, educational for sure.
Look, don't touch that sounds like my apartment. I would not want anyone touching my comedic arsenal, especially not children.
What about events for kids in Chad? Storytelling or some street performances? I guess you can find some African tales there.
Street performance, I like that. Unplanned and natural. I imagine you need a high tolerance for heat, dust, and the occasional camel wandering through.
Oh, hey, those last points are probably exaggerations. I believe in Sudan there are a few cultural centers for the children in Khartoum.
Cultural centers are good. Are these places where you can see performances, or is it just paintings on walls? I need some action, Mira.
Let me check. I believe they have some workshops to introduce children to local art. That would be something.
Local art workshops sign up for that. Do they teach you how to haggle for souvenirs? Because that's a life skill.
The official languages are Arabic and French, right? Perhaps they can learn Arabic calligraphy, for example. Wow.
Now you are speaking my language, Mira? Learning Arabic calligraphy would be incredible. Maybe there's a chance to make that into comedy.
It is hard to find information on internet regarding family activities there. These countries are not really advertised for kid tourism.
True, but that just means you need to be more creative in finding entertainment. Get the kids running. Play with the goats.
What do you mean play with the goats? Kids need more than that. But yeah, in Chad and Sudan, families have to be creative.
Creative, that's a euphemism for make do with what you've got, isn't it? Improvise a puppet show, stage a mud fight.
What about schools for kids? I bet there's very few international schools to accommodate children from foreign workers. Ooh.
Perhaps they can be homeschooled, or maybe just play with the other kids and let them learn the language?
Not all parents will be that adventurous. Some of them may have the expat problems.
I am sure it can be enough. Moving from a developed country to Chad or Sudan. Wow, those are big change-ups.
So it is probably fair to say that for dedicated family activities, Chad and Sudan are not on the top of the list. Wow.
Well, Mira, let's be honest. If you're prioritizing children activities, Chad and Sudan won't come to mind.
True. But if you are looking for raw, unfiltered experiences, these countries could teach your kids to be resilient. Oh.
Resilient, that's a nice way of saying. They'll learn to survive. Amira? Either way they can say, they have visited some unique countries.
Well, let's say that for the children, the magic happens in the culture immersion, or just being with the parents while traveling.
Okay, fine, Mira. Chad and Sudan may not be Disneyland, but they offer something different, a real adventure and cultural awareness.
Yes, so pack your bags, bring your imagination, and get ready for a family trip like no other. Just, check the safety warnings first.
Safety first, Oaks second. But honestly, folks, these two countries won't provide you with kids' club or activities, but it can teach them real stuff.
Okay, Nia. Let's talk about how LGBT folks are treated in Chad and Sudan. It's a bit of a sensitive topic, but important.
Right, Mira. It's not always rainbows and sunshine everywhere, is it? Let's see what's what in these two countries.
Same-sex sexual activity is actually criminalized. Ouch! That means there are legal risks for LGBT individuals.
Oh, seriously? Criminalized? That's like stepping back into the Stone Age. I guess that nixes the idea of a pride parade then.
Plus, there are no specific laws in Chad protecting LGBT people from discrimination in employment, housing, or services.
So, basically, it's like a double whammy of legal and social hurdles. Sounds like a tough spot.
Fortunately, yes. Socially, LGBT people in Chad often face stigma, discrimination, and even violence.
Yeah, that's the awful part, isn't it? It's not just about the laws, it's about how people treat each other. Ouch.
Now moving on to Sudan. The situation there is even more challenging.
Oh boy, more challenging than criminalization. Please tell me it doesn't involve fire-breathing dragons.
No dragons, but same-sex sexual activity is illegal under Sudanese law, and the penalties can be extremely severe, even including the death penalty.
Whoa, death penalty? That's beyond harsh. That's downright barbaric. Seriously, folks, it's 2024.
I know. There are no laws protecting LGBT people from discrimination in Sudan either.
So, Zaz ain't that we can counter that. So, zero protection. Nada, zilch. It's like being thrown to the wolves with no shield.
That's an accurate description. Social attitudes are very conservative.
Understatement of the century, Mira. I'm betting there are more welcoming penguin colonies in Antarctica.
You might be right. LGBT individuals face significant risks of violence, harassment, and social exclusion.
It makes you wonder, where can people turn when their own society turns against them? So sad. Ouch.
True, Leo. There are now openly LGBT organizations in Sudan due to the legal and social climate.
Right, because if you dare to organize, you're basically signing your own, well, you know, or horrifying.
Pretty much. It's an incredibly difficult and dangerous environment for LGBT people.
So, to sum it up, Chad and Sudan aren't exactly winning any awards for LGBT inclusivity. It's like a competition for who can be less accepting.
It is. And it's important to be aware of these realities. Understanding these challenges is the first step towards advocacy and change.
Well said, Mira. It's crucial to keep the conversation going and support organizations working to promote LGBT rights in these regions. Even small steps to make a difference.
Leo, let's move on, shall we? This studio might just become your go-to spot for deciding which country is more LGBT friendly. If you like it, you can like it.
Absolutely, Mira. And don't forget to check out Genofea for more insights and resources on these complex issues. We're truly grateful.
Here's a little nudge, like and subscribe to support us. It's just a click. We'll talk about the details on Genofea.
And if you're watching on YouTube, drop a comment below. Let us know your thoughts.
Hello, everyone. Mira here, ready to sprinkle some sunshine on today's topic: hospitality and attitudes towards foreigners in Chad and Sudan. I'm already picturing myself greeted with open arms and maybe a tribal dance or two.
And Leo here, ready to cut through the sunshine with a bit of reality. Tribal dances are great, Mira, but I'm wondering, will they also try to sell me something? Seriously though, let's see how these countries really treat us wandering souls.
Oh, Leo, always the cynic. But that's why we love you. Seriously, Chad is known as the heart of Africa, and I've heard Chadians are incredibly welcoming. Maybe they'll even offer us some dromedary milk. I've always wanted to try that.
Dromedary milk sounds adventurous. In picturing myself trying to milk a camel. Oh! I guess Sudan also has a reputation for hospitality, rooted in their Arab and African traditions. I'm just wondering if it's the kind of hospitality where they insist you drink 3 cups of super sweet tea.
3 cups. That's a challenge I'm willing to accept. I'm sure we can handle it. But back to Chad. I've read that in rural communities, offering food and shelter to strangers is just part of their culture. Part of the traditional way of life. Wow.
Well, free food is always a plus in my book. In Sudan, I've heard that the concept of Khartoum hospitality is real. It means extending kindness even if you don't have much yourself. But I hope they don't get offended if I decline the goat's head soup.
Good sounds. That's head soup. Well, I am an adventurous eater, but maybe I'll stick to the dromedary milk in Chad. But back to Sudan. I think we can look at it on the YouTube channel. I think we can look at it on the YouTube channel or Genofea after this podcast. You know, there are several videos on YouTube about this. It is said that Sudanese people are friendly and respectful. You know, there are some content creators who tourism or residents on the experiences. You can also watch them.
You know it. Well, as long as I don't have to wrestle to go for my soup, I'm open to trying new things. I'm just hoping they have some decent coffee to go with it. After all, hospitality is only as good as the coffee they offer.
Oh, come on, Leo. Coffee snob. By the way, have you seen the travel series on Genofea? Someone shared stories of being invited into Chadian homes and being treated like royalty, even though they had very little. Wow, it is really amazing.
Royalty, huh? Do I get a crown and a throne? On the flip side, what happens if you inadvertently offend someone with a cultural faux pas? Are they forgiving, or will they exile me to the desert?
Well, being respectful is key. And you have to remember that many Chadians and Sudanese have experienced hardships. Maybe a little bit of sensitivity goes a long way. And also being polite, of course.
True, a little respect and humility never hurt anyone. It's about showing you appreciate their culture and aren't just some clueless tourist. If you're watching it and want to know more about these things, like and subscribe. So, are there certain areas, maybe the major cities, where foreigners are more common and accepted?
I think you're right. Big cities tend to be more cosmopolitan. Yes, for sure. Also, I read that Indija, Emina, and Shan Khartoum in Sudan. You'll find more exposure to different cultures, which might lead to more openness.
Good to know. So, less chance of getting stared at like I'm an alien from another planet. How about the expat communities? Do they have support networks, or is it more of a lone wolf situation?
Well, if you find yourself in either country for a while, connecting with other expats is a must, right? Especially for getting tips and not feeling completely lost. You know?
Definitely. It's always good to have someone who understands your struggles of adjusting to the local way of life, and someone who knows where to find a decent pizza when you need a taste of home.
True. Pizza's always a good idea. So if we summarize it, both Chad and Sudan had strong roots in hospitality. But foreigners have to be aware and cautious while staying there, like being aware of the local traditions and cultures.
Agreed. As long as you're respectful, open-minded, and bring a good sense of humor, you'll likely have a rewarding experience. If nothing else, you'll come back with some wild stories.
Right. Now, I want to see your impersonation of someone trying to milk a camel. Let's dive into the digital world, or lack thereof, in Chad and Sudan. It's like comparing dial-up to, well, slightly faster dial-up. Are we expecting lightning-fast connections, or are we bracing ourselves for some serious buffering?
Mira, you're setting the bar so low it's practically underground. I suspect we'll find more camels with better connections. But hey, even a trickle tech can make a difference, right? Let's see what digital breadcrumbs these countries are leaving.
Digital breadcrumbs. I love it. Maybe we should rename this segment Hansel and Gretel Go Online in Africa. But seriously, let's kick things off with chat. What kind of internet speeds are we talking about? Are we able to watch YouTube videos or just see a loading circle for days?
Well, if you're hoping to binge watch cat videos in Chad, prepare for a very long binge. The internet infrastructure there is. How do I put this delicately? Still under construction. Think of it as a digital archaeological dig slow progress. But occasionally you will find something interesting.
A digital archaeological dig. That's comedy gold, Leo. Is it any better? Or are we looking at a similar situation of digital darkness? Can they at least jet off AI to dream about faster internet someday?
Sudan's a bit like Chad's older brother, slightly ahead but still struggling. They've got more internet users, but the connection speeds are still pretty glacial. Let's just say streaming anything is an act of faith rather than a guarantee.
I hope they have a strong belief when visiting our Jet Off AI site to read more about it or listen to our other podcasts. So, are people mostly using phones to connect? Or are there internet cafes like the old days?
Mobile is king, Mira. Landlines are rarer than a polite mosquito. But even mobile data is pricey and spotty. Think of it as digital survival. You grab whatever connection you can find.
Digital survival, I can already imagine the means. What about government efforts? Are they trying to boost connectivity, or are they too busy with other things like, I don't know, actual survival?
Governments are aware, but progress is slow. There's talk of improving infrastructure, but bureaucracy and funding are major roadblocks.
Bureaucracy and funding sounds like a comedy sketch in itself. Whoa, are they at least trying to get more people online with cheaper data plans or public Wi-Fi hotspots?
There are some initiatives to make internet access more affordable, but it's a drop in the bucket. Public Wi-Fi is scarce, and data costs are still a barrier for many.
Stuff to the tech enthusiast there. What are people actually doing online? Is it mostly social media, or are they finding ways to use these limited connections for education and business?
Primarily social media and messaging. Oh, but you'll also find resourceful entrepreneurs using the internet for small business and online education.
Resourceful entrepreneurs got all of that spirit. Is there any local tech innovation happening, or are they mostly relying on outside technology?
There's a growing tech scene, but it's still in its infancy. Limited resources and infrastructure make it tough to compete globally.
So, we're talking more potential than current reality. Ooh! Are there any cool apps or digital tools being developed we should know about? Anything that might one day be on Jet Fair?
There are some promising startups focusing on local solutions like mobile banking and agricultural apps. Wow, but visibility is a challenge.
Mobile banking and agriculture tackling real-world problems. Do you think that access to better internet could significantly improve lives and opportunities in Chad and Sudan?
Absolutely, Mira. It could transform education, healthcare, and economic opportunities. Imagine farmers getting real-time market data or students accessing online courses.
Oh, I am officially inspired. Oh, so what can be done to help improve internet infrastructure and digital accessibility in these countries?
Investment infrastructure development, education, and supportive government policies are key. Also, international partnerships and knowledge sharing.
Yo, you officially turned this digital darkness into a beacon of hope. Wow. Let's hope things improve quickly so someday we can do a podcast about Chad and Sudan's amazing tech revolution.
A tech revolution in Chad and Sudan, that would be a podcast worth making. For now, let's just appreciate our own stable internet connections, Mira.
You're right. And remind our listeners to check out Jet AI to see the digital divide and maybe even find ways to help bridge it. Alright, Leo. Let's dive into shopping opportunities and price-performance balance in Chad and Sudan. Get ready to haggle.
Haggling, you say? I'm picturing myself in a fez, Mira, bartering for a camel. Is that Chad or Sudan?
Probably both. But maybe leave the camel shopping to the locals, Leo. We're talking retail diversity from bustling markets to, well, slightly less bustling markets. Aha.
Less bustling? Are we politely saying sparse? I'm picturing tumblers rolling through empty aisles.
Not exactly tumbleweeds. More like a very relaxed shopping experience. Chad has markets like in DJ Amin Essential Market, where you can find textiles and crafts. Wow.
Textiles and crafts, huh? Anything I can't find in my local mall? I'm thinking exotic spices or hand-woven fez, perhaps?
You might find some unique traditional textiles, Leo. And you can definitely try your hand at bargaining.
Bargaining I can do. I once talked a street vendor down €3 for a knockoff watch. I felt like a financial wizard.
Okay, Warren Buffett, calm down. Now, Sudan has markets like the Souk Arabi in Khartoum.
Souk Arabi sounds mysterious. Am I going to find ancient artifacts or just slightly dusty souvenirs?
You'll find a bit of both, maybe. It's a good place for gold, spices, and Sudanese handicrafts. Wow.
Gold, you say? Now you have my attention. I could always use a gold-plated fez.
A gold-plated fez might be a bit much even for you, Leo, but let's talk price performance.
Price performance. That's code for can I get a good deal, right? I'm all about maximizing my fez buying power.
Both Chad and Sudan offer generally low prices compared to, say, Western countries.
Low prices are music to my ears. It means I can buy more spices. Yes, spices. Definitely not fez, yes.
But keep in mind the quality might not always be top-notch, Leo. You get what you pay for.
Ah, the age-old dilemma, quality versus quantity. Do I want amazing fez or 10 slightly less amazing fez, yes? This requires serious thought.
You might find better deals on local goods, but imported items can be pricey.
So stick to the local stuff. Got it. What's the local specialty? Mud cloths. I'm envisioning myself in a mud chic outfit.
You can find some colorful fabrics and leather goods. Just be prepared to haggle hard.
Haggle I shall. I shall. I'll unleash my inner market trader. They won't know what hit him.
Sudan's the same deal. Local products are generally more affordable, but imported goods come at a premium. Wow.
So, bargain for local crafts and skip the imported designer war. Sounds reasonable? Any unique Sudanese specialties to look out for?
Think spices, jewelry, and traditional clothing. Just be sure to check the quality before you commit. Oh.
Quality control is key. I don't want my gold-plated vest to turn green after a week. Ah,
So, both Chad and Sudan offer budget-friendly shopping experiences, but you need to be savvy.
savvy, resourceful, and festastic. That's me. So, if you like vibrant markets and haggling, Chad and Sudan could be your shopping paradise.
Just don't expect luxury malls or high-end boutiques. These are more down-to-earth retail experiences.
That's okay. I prefer my shopping experiences with a healthy dose of organized chaos and the faint smell of spices.
Alright, Leo. Let's dive into cultural events, festivals, and concert opportunities in Chad and Sudan. Ooh, already picturing vibrant colors and amazing music.
Chad and Sudan, eh? Sounds like a good place to get some new material. Reminds me of that time I tried to find a decent coffee shop in Outer Mongolia. Dude, talk about a cultural experience? Whoa, not in a good way.
Oh, Leo. Always with the coffee stories. Well, in Chad, one of the biggest events is definitely the DJ Immigrants Festival. It's a celebration of traditional Chadian music and dance. Oh, think lots of drums and colorful costumes.
Drums and costumes? Huh? Sounds like my kind of show. If they served coffee. Otherwise, I'd probably be too busy figuring out how to turn their instruments into espresso makers.
You're incorrigible. Anyway, Sudan has its own amazing events, like the Sufi dhikr ceremonies. It's a really spiritual experience with chanting and music, often in beautiful settings.
Spiritual ceremonies. Hey, is that involved not talking? Because I think I'd fail at that. Seriously though, sounds like a great way to clear your head. Before you start thinking up new jokes about it.
Who is the comedian? There's also the Sudan Film Factory Festival, which is quite popular, showcasing up-and-coming filmmakers. Wow!
So, a film festival in Sudan. Wonder if they have a category for comedies. I could submit my travel mishaps. The title would be Leo, the Human Disaster. Whoa.
That sounds hilarious. Maybe you could win an award. Anyway, I think both countries have such rich, unique cultural experiences that are amazing to explore.
Agreed. From those Sufi chants in Sudan to those vibrant celebrations in Chad. Sounds like both are brimming with artistic gems.
Chad also celebrates Sadoskai, which is a big religious holiday with lots of feasting and community events. It's super lively and a great time to experience Chadian hospitality.
Feasting, you say? Suddenly, Chad's looking even more appealing. Maybe they have some street food I haven't made fun of yet. I mean tried. Try.
You're huntless. But hey, let's talk music. Besides traditional events, is there a local music scene to be aware of?
Well, in Sudan, you get a lot of traditional Sudanese music. Lots of OUD percussion. It really gives you a feel for the cultural roots.
That sounds fantastic. It's cool how these countries have kept their traditional stuff going strong. Definitely would like to explore more.
Absolutely. I'm sure Chad is a wonderful country to experience live music and get a new comedic perspective to.
And for our listeners on YouTube, if you've experienced any of these festivals, drop a comment below. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, tell us all about it. Maybe give us some ideas for our next trip. Or, jokes.
Well, folks, that's it for cultural events, festivals, and concerts in Chad and Sudan. Hope you enjoyed the journey.
Time for a coffee. And maybe to start planning a trip. Gotta get that material somehow, right?
And if you want to learn more about these countries, don't forget to check out Jedoff AI for detailed travel guides and tips.
Indeed, Jedoff is the place to go. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a coffee machine calling my name. Bye, everyone.
Bye for now. Wonderful listeners. Catch you next time. Opportunities and ease of learning the local language. Here we go. Chad and Sudan aren't exactly known for their language learning ease, are they? It's not like rocking up to Paris and finding a million French classes.
Not quite your learn Spanish in sunny Spain vibe. But, Mira, that's where the adventure begins. You ready to wrestle with some Arabic and French?
Wrestle is the right word. Chad, with its French and Arabic influences, sounds like a linguistic tag team match. It's like, bonjour, salam alaikum, now Ryan, understand me? Wow.
Exactly. And Sudan, primarily Arabic, but with a ton of local dialects, makes it more like linguistic free-for-all. Good luck pinning down one clear language,
Where does a newbie even start? Do they just wander into the desert and hope someone teaches them? That could be a new travel show. Ooh.
I'd suggest some online courses. Maybe a phrase book or two. Finding a local tutor's the best bet, though. They'll too right, I'd wager.
Speaking of locals, imagine trying to haggle in a market without the lingo. You'd probably end up paying double for everything. Oops.
True, but think of the stories. I tried to buy a goat, ended up with 3 chickens and a camel. That's comedy gold right there.
Okay, potential language barriers aside, are there any language schools or resources? Anything beyond Shiu will power in a dictionary.
Limited, but they exist. In larger cities, you might find some private tutors or cultural centers offering classes. But it's not like Berlin, with language schools on every corner.
It's more about creating your own language learning adventure. Like, building your own school of hard knocks, but with grammar books.
Precisely. Immerse yourself. Listen to local music, watch films. Try to chat with people. Just jump in and see what happens. Ooh.
Easy for you to say. You're the one who probably picks up languages by osmosis just by standing in a crowd and listening. Wow.
Hey, I wish. But honestly, even a few basic phrases make a huge difference. Shows respect opens doors and gets you better deals on those chickens and camels,
Plus, imagine the look on people's faces when you bust out a few Arabic or French phrases. Instant street cred.
Totally. They'll be like, this foreigner actually made an effort. Respect. You'll be the coolest cat in the Sahara.
So anyone brave enough to learn the local languages in Chad or Sudan? It's more about DIY immersion and finding the hidden gems of resources. Ooh.
Perfect language schools. Become a language explorer. Discover new phrases, new dialects, new ways to say whiz the best coffee.
Speaking of coffee, you'd probably need a serious caffeine boost to tackle these languages. I'm suddenly feeling very grateful for my Duolingo streak of Spanish.
True that. These aren't beginner languages, but the reward is huge. You'll gain a deeper connection to the culture and the people, and have some hilarious stories to tell.
Okay, I'm officially inspired. Maybe I'll add Chidi in Arabic to my bucket list right after I master Klingon. What?
Now that's a challenge. Seriously, if you tackle a language like that, you'll be able to handle anything. You'll be a linguistic superhero. Wow.
So, to wrap up learning the local language in Chad or Sudan? Not easy, but incredibly rewarding. Pack your phrasebook, your sense of humor, and your adventurous spirit.
Nailed it. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more language learning tips. Though we might stick to easier languages. Remember to support us by visiting Janafea.
Alright, everyone. Let's dive into a topic that's super important for all our female listeners' safety and comfort for women travelers in Chad and Sudan. As always, we're not just throwing out stats, we're aiming for real talk.
Real talk, indeed. Because let's face it, ladies, sometimes travel brochures forget to mention the stuff that actually matters. Things like why be catcalled every 5 minutes, or is it safe to walk alone at night? So Mira, where do we even begin with Chad and Sudan?
Yeah, let's start with Chad. Chad is an amazing country, full of stunning landscapes, but is also facing several challenges. Well, for women traveling there, it's essential to be aware of your surroundings, especially in larger cities where petty theft can be an issue.
Petty theft? That's putting it mildly. Hey, in some parts of Chad, petty theft might involve a monkey making off with your sandwich. And just kidding. But seriously, it is important to keep your belongings close. What about cultural attitudes, Mira? Are there any particular customs women should be aware of to stay safe?
In Chad, like in many African nations, dressing modestly is super important. Think long skirts or trousers uncovering your shoulders. Well, it's not necessarily a legal requirement, but it shows respect for local customs, which can help you avoid unwanted attention.
Oh, modesty, the ultimate travel hack. Yeah, it's like the invisibility cloak of the fashion world. But on a more serious note, what about Sudan? Does Sudan have similar cultural norms regarding dress?
In Sudan, dressing modestly is even more crucial due to the country's more conservative Islamic culture. Wow. Women should definitely wear loose-fitting clothing that covers their arms and legs, and also consider wearing a headscarf, particularly in more rural areas or religious sites.
Headscarf is the ultimate multi-tool. Fashion accessories, sun shield, and respectometer all rolled into one. But cultural norms aside, how does the legal system in Sudan protect women travelers? Are there any laws in place against harassment or assault?
That's where things get tricky, Leo. Sudan's legal protections for women, especially regarding harassment and assault, are not as strong as in many Western countries. Ouch. It's crucial for women travelers to be extra cautious and avoid situations where they might be vulnerable.
Extra cautious. That's like saying avoid petting the tiger unless you want to lose an arm. Got it. So what practical tips can we give our listeners to stay safe in Sudan, given the legal landscape?
Travel in groups whenever possible, Leo. And avoid walking alone at night. Also, it's a good idea to share your itinerary with someone you trust and keep them updated on your whereabouts. Well, and as always, trust your gut. If a situation feels off from it immediately.
Trust your gut, the built-in GPS for avoiding trouble. What about transportation in these countries? Are taxis safe? Are there any recommended ride-sharing apps? Or should women stick to organized tours?
In both Chad and Sudan, it's generally safer to use pre-booked taxis or reputable tour operators, Lear. Avoiding marked taxis or accepting rides from strangers. Whoa, and always agree on a fare before you get in the car to avoid being scammed.
Scans the universal language of tourism. So, pre-booked taxis and tour operators are the way to go. What else should our listeners know about Chad and Sudan in terms of safety?
Staying informed is critical. Before you travel, check travel advisories from your home country for the latest safety information and any specific risks to be aware of. Wow. And be sure to register with your embassy so they can reach you in case of an emergency.
Register with your embassy. It's like checking in with your mom, but on an international scale. Any personal experiences you can share, Mira, or stories you've heard from other female travelers who've visited Chad or Sudan?
I don't have personal experiences to share for these countries, but I've heard from other travelers that connecting with local women can be a great way to gain insights and support. Local women often know the safest areas and can provide valuable advice on navigating cultural norms.
Networking, it's not just for LinkedIn anymore. But seriously, connecting with local women sounds like a fantastic way to gain a deeper understanding of the culture and stay safe. Any final words of wisdom for our female listeners planning a trip to Chad or Sudan?
Be prepared, be informed, and be cautious, Leah. Chad and Sudan offer incredible experiences, but it's important to approach them with your eyes wide open and take steps to protect yourself. Remember, your safety and comfort are paramount.
Wise words, Mira. So, ladies, stay safe, stay informed, and don't forget to pack your invisibility cloak of modesty. And, as always, do your research before you go. Check out our site Jet Off AI for travel articles and additional podcast episodes. If you like it.
Absolutely, and if you found this useful, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Wow. We'll talk about the details on Jet Off AI. Also, feel free to share your travel experiences or safety tips in the comments.
That's it for today, folks. Stay safe.
Bye. Let's chat about Chad and Sudan legal systems, individual rights, and freedoms. It sounds like a mouthful, but it's super important for anyone thinking about visiting or even moving there. Right?
Absolutely, Mira. Legal systems can be pretty complex, but essential for understanding how a country functions. I mean, you don't want to accidentally break a law because you didn't know it existed. Oh, sort of like trying to use the wrong for cat a fancy dinner awkward.
Let's start with Chad. From what I gather, its legal system is a mix of French civil law and customary law. Aha! What does that even mean for the average person? Is it like mixing chocolate and chili, sometimes delicious, sometimes disaster?
Well, Mira, it means that some laws are based on the French model, which is very structured and written down, while others come from local traditions and customs. So, depending on the situation, you might find yourself in a modern courtroom or sitting under a tree listening to a tribal elder.
Oh, and what about individual rights and freedoms in chat? Do they have a Bill of Rights like in the US? Or is it more of a trust us, we're doing our best kind of situation?
Chad's constitution does guarantee certain rights, like freedom of speech, religion, and association. However, the reality can be a bit different. Implementation is often a challenge, and there can be restrictions in practice, especially when it comes to political dissent. Oops.
That's not ideal, is it? What about women's rights? Are they making progress, or is it still a long road ahead?
That's a really important question, Mira. Women in Chad face significant challenges, especially in rural areas, where customary laws often discriminate against them. There's still a lot of work to be done to ensure equal rights and opportunities.
Sounds like Chad is a work in progress. How does Sudan compare? Is it a similar story, or are there some key differences?
Sudan's legal system is also a mix, but with a different flavor. It's influenced by English common law and Islamic law, or Sharia. This creates its own set of complexities and challenges.
Islamic law? Huh? Does that mean strict rules and regulations, or is it more nuanced than that? I'm picturing everyone walking around with a rule book, making sure they don't step out of line.
Well, interpretations of Sharia vary, but in Sudan, it has often led to stricter social codes and limitations on certain freedoms, particularly for women and religious minorities. The application of these laws has been a contentious issue, especially after the recent political changes. Yikes.
And what about freedom of expression in Sudan? Can people speak their minds, or do they have to watch what they say?
Historically, Sudan has had a pretty restrictive environment when it comes to freedom of expression. But after the revolution, there's been a bit more openness, although the situation remains fragile and subject to change. Like a jingit. Like a jingit, our one wrong move and everything comes crashing down.
So it's like walking on eggshells. That sounds stressful. What about the rights of minorities in Sudan? Is there a real effort to protect them? Or are they often marginalized?
Sudan is incredibly diverse with numerous ethnic and religious groups. Unfortunately, many of these groups have faced discrimination and marginalization, especially in conflict zones like Darfur. There's a long history of human rights abuses, and while efforts are being made to address these issues, progress is slow and uneven.
It sounds like both Chad and Sudan have a long way to go when it comes to ensuring equal rights and freedoms for all their citizens. Is there anything positive happening? Or is it all doom and gloom?
There are definitely glimmers of hope, Mira. Civil society organizations are working hard to promote human rights, advocate for legal reforms, and provide support to marginalized communities. And international pressure can also play a role in encouraging governments to improve their human rights records. Wow.
So if someone is planning to visit or move to Chad or Sudan, what's the key takeaway? What should they keep in mind to stay safe and respect the local laws?
Do your research, Mira. Understanding the legal system and cultural norms is crucial. Be aware of the potential risks, respect local customs, and avoid getting involved in political activities that could land you in trouble. Also, register with your embassy and stay informed about any travel advisories. Whoa!
Great advice, Leo. It's always better to be informed and prepared, especially when you're dealing with complex legal systems and human rights challenges. Thanks for shedding some light on this important topic. Our current topic, we compare spa, healthy living, and relaxation opportunities in two countries. From luxurious spas to holistic wellness practices and cultural relaxation rituals. Let's see what Chad and Sudan have to offer.
Mira, Chad and Sudan? Sounds like we're trading in our lots for. What do they drink in Chad and Sudan? Millet beer and hibiscus tea. I'm already picturing myself trying to find a decent espresso, probably in vain.
Oh, Leo, you're always thinking about coffee. Oh, well, think of the adventure. We might discover some amazing new relaxation rituals we've never even heard of. Wow.
Rituals involving sand and heat, probably. Speaking of, does Chad even have spas? I picture more finer shady tree kind of relaxation.
You'd be surprised, Leo. Though luxurious spas might be less common, Chad does offer unique natural escapes. Think of the Inn and Edie Plateau, it's like a lunar landscape with hidden oases. Wow. Imagine meditating there.
Meditating in the desert sounds like a quick way to get sunstroke. I need air conditioning and a cucumber eye mask. Is that really considered relaxation in Chad?
It's about finding peace in nature, Leo. Leo, the vastness and silence can be incredibly calming. Plus, Chad is like Chad, though it's sadly shrinking. Still, imagine bird watching there. Ooh.
Bird watching? Mira, Emma, comedian, not David and Umbro. I need entertainment, not ornithology, but I do appreciate that Chad has some unique landscapes.
On the other hand, has the Red Sea coast. Think diving, snorkeling, and enjoying the coral reefs. That's gotta be relaxing, right? Wow.
Okay, Red Sea diving, that does sound tempting. Maybe I could spot a sunken joke or two down there. But isn't Sudan still, a bit?
There might be challenges, Leo, but that doesn't negate the natural beauty and opportunities for relaxation. Think about a Nile sunset cruise could be incredible.
Sunset cruise on the Nile. Dodging political commentary, probably. I guess even tense places have sunsets. But I'm still skeptical about the healthy living part in this equation.
Healthy living is all about perspective, Leo. In Sudan, traditional practices and community play a big role in well-being. Think of shared meals and storytelling under the stars. Oh.
Storytelling under the stars. Sounds like a prelude to getting bitten by a mosquito the size of my fist. I need WI-Fi in a gym mirror.
What about traditional Sudanese massage? There's gotta be some ancient techniques to relieve stress. We just need to find them. Wow.
Ancient techniques involving questionable oils and someone poking my pressure points until I scream? Nope. It'll stick to my Swedish massage. Thank you very much.
But what about the local cuisine? Exploring new flavors can be a form of relaxation too. Imagine trying some traditional Sudanese dishes.
As long as it doesn't involve anything that looks back at me from the plate I'm getting. Are there any vegetarian options that aren't just plain millet?
Think of fresh fruits. Vegetables, and spices. Plus, sharing a meal with locals is a great way to connect and relax.
Connecting with locals while trying to figure out what I'm eating, that's a recipe for comedic gold. I'm picturing a whole stand-up routine already.
Point is, Leo, relaxation and healthy living are subjective. While Chad and Sudan might not offer the same luxurious spa experiences as other places, they offer unique, authentic opportunities for well-being. Wow.
So I think that we can copy that. Authentic opportunities to sweat in the desert and eat questionable food. Got it. Maybe this is more of a survival challenge than a spa retreat.
No. It's about embracing the unexpected and finding joy in simplicity. Think of it as a digital detox, no Wi-Fi, no stress. Wow.
No Wi-Fi? That's my definition of hell, Mira. I need to Instagram my misery.
You crack me up. Leo, the point is, Chad and Sudan offer unique experiences for the adventurous travelers seeking a different kind of relaxation. Oh,
So, basically, if you're okay with trading in your Spotify and storming your green juice for millet beer, Chad and Sudan might be your paradise.
it's about perspective and embracing the local culture. And maybe, just maybe, finding some comedic material along the way.
Oh, trust me, Mira. A trip like that would be a gold mine for comedic material. I'd be set for a year.
Even you can find something to appreciate. So, if you're looking for an off-the-beaten-path adventure, Chad and Sudan might just surprise you. Wow!
Just make sure you pack plenty of insect repellent and a good sunscreen. Insect repellent and a good sense of humor. You'll need it.
Alright, let's talk about feeding the soul, shall we? Or, finding a good Wi-Fi spot in a church, whichever works. So, Chad and Sudan, opportunities for religious and spiritual needs. It sounds like a quest from a particularly pious video game.
A quest for enlightenment with level ups based on good deeds. So, in Chad, how easy is it to find a spot to eat? No, contemplate your belly button. I mean, connect with the divine.
Well, Chad, being quite diverse religiously, offers a variety of places to worship. Well, you've got most churches and traditional African religions all coexisting. It's like a spiritual buffet, Leo.
A spiritual buffet. Eh. So you can pick and choose your enlightenment flavor? That's Chad providing options, I suppose. But are they all playing nicely together?
For the most part, yes. There's a constitution protecting religious freedom. Oh, no, like anywhere. There can be occasional tensions between different groups. Nobody's perfect, right?
Right. So, Sudan, on the other hand. Is it a similar spiritual pick and mix, or is it more of a one-flavor-fits-all situation?
Historically, Sudan has been more dominated by Islam, especially in the north. But you also have Christian communities, particularly in the south. Wow, it's like a geographical division of faith.
A geographical division, you say? Sounds like prime material for a slightly awkward road trip. Honey, we're crossing the faith line?
But, the government's attitude towards religious freedom has been, well, let's just say it's been a bit of a roller coaster, depending on who's in charge.
A roller coaster of religious tolerance, eh? Sounds thrilling. Ouch. So, not exactly smooth sailing for those who aren't part of the majority faith, then.
Not always, Leo. There have been times when the government favored Islam, which could make things tricky for Christians or followers of traditional beliefs. Ouch. But things are hopefully changing.
Hopefully being the operative word there. If you're packing your spiritual suitcase for either Chad or Sudan, it's worth doing your research and knowing the lay of the land.
Because let's be honest, nobody wants to accidentally start a religious debate at a tea party.
Especially if the tea is terrible. Ouch. This tea is blasphemy? So, for our listeners looking for spiritual opportunities, maybe check the Jet Off AI site for more details.
And remember to like this video and subscribe. This little podcast is supported by Jet Off AI. Wow!
Yep, hit that like button. It's practically an act of enlightenment itself. Until next time, Until next time, folks.
Alright, Leah. Let's chat about something super important: social equality, minority rights, and diversity in Chad and Sudan. It's a big topic. Boom. Then.
Indeed, Mira. A rather delicate one, too. So, no cracking jokes about Chady and S riding camels to the opera. Seriously, though, let's dive in.
No promises on the camel jokes, Leo. But seriously, thinking about Chad, it's a pretty diverse place, right? Loads of different ethnic groups.
Absolutely, Mira. Chad is a mosaic of Anticitus Arabs. Sahara, Mayo, Kebi. The list goes on. But does that diversity translate into social equality? That's the million-dollar question.
Exactly. It's one thing to be diverse, and another to actually celebrate it and treat everyone equally. What's your take on the respect for minorities there?
Well, historically, there have been tensions. Let's not sugarcoat it. Conflicts between different groups over resources and power. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, ouch.
That uncommon, is it? But what about Sudan? We're talking about a country with a complex history and its own set of challenges.
Sudan. Ah yes, a land of ancient pyramids and more recently, political turmoil. Like Chad, it's incredibly diverse Nubians Arabs fur. But also a history of marginalization.
Unfortunately, is a recurring theme in many countries we discuss, isn't it? I wonder how the Sudan handle cultural and linguistic diversity. Does everyone get a seat at the table?
Officially, they might say they do, but the reality is often different. Power and resources have historically been concentrated in the hands of certain groups, leaving others feeling excluded. Ouch.
Loyo! Like, finding that perfect harmony in a song or a joke. But seriously, are there any organizations or movements pushing for more inclusive policies in either Chad or Sudan?
Definitely. There are NGOs and civil society groups working hard to promote human rights, advocate for minority rights, and push for more inclusive governance. They are the unsung heroes.
They sure are. It's like they're the ones holding up the sky. I think it's important to highlight those efforts. What about the legal frameworks? Are there laws in place to protect minorities from discrimination?
On paper, perhaps some, but enforcement is often weak. It's one thing to have laws, and another for those laws to actually mean something in people's daily lives. A lot of work still to be done.
True. It's not enough to just write it down, you have to live it. Speaking of daily life, how do ordinary citizens perceive diversity in these countries? Is there a genuine sense of social cohesion?
That varies wildly depending on where you are and who you ask. In some communities, you'll find people living side by side peacefully. In others, suspicion and prejudice run deep.
A mixed bag, that's a good way to put it. I guess it's a long road to social equality, but acknowledging the challenges is the first step, right?
Absolutely, Mira. And as content creators, it's our job to shine a light on these issues, spark conversations, and hopefully nudge things in the right direction.
Nudging is what we do best, Elia. And don't forget, dear listeners, you can also help by being informed, speaking out, and supporting organizations that are doing good work on the ground.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Mira. Now, if you'll excuse me, all this talk about heavy topics has made me crave a double espresso, perhaps with a cynical joke on top.
Don't forget the coffee stains, Leo. And to our listeners, if you've enjoyed this chat, give us a like on YouTube and swing by Jet Off AI for more insights. See you next time. Oh, well, Leo, let's dive into the fascinating world of taxes, retirement, and social rights. Chad versus Sudan. It's like comparing spicy peanuts to, well, even spicier peanuts.
Yeah, you're killing me with the spicy peanut analogy. But seriously, this topic is crucial for anyone thinking of settling down in either Chad or Sudan. It's not just about the sunshine, it's about the taxman too.
So in Chad, the tax system is, how do I put this delicately, developing. It's not as structured as what you might find in Europe or North America. The income tax rates are there, but enforcement, that's another story.
Enforcement, you say? More like gentle suggestions. But that doesn't mean you can just waltz and avoid paying taxes altogether. There are customs duties and other indirect taxes that the government relies on. Plus, if you're running a business, you definitely need to keep things above board or oops.
Now, Sudan is a bit more organized, at least on paper. They also have income tax, corporate tax, and VAT. The rates can be quite high, especially for businesses. It's like, welcome to Sudan, now pay up, ouch.
Ouch. Sounds like sin and doesn't mess around. But what about Social Security? What happens when you get old and wrinkly out of these places?
Social Security is pretty basic. There's a national pension fund, but it doesn't cover everyone. It's more for formal sector employees, and the benefits might not be enough to live on comfortably. It's like winning a participation trophy.
A participation Rofi pension. That's rough. Sudan has a more developed social security system covering things like pensions, unemployment benefits. Unemployment benefits depend on your contributions on the specific scheme.
What do you mean, contributions in specific scheme?
Well, Mira, like anywhere else, you get what you pay for, more or less. If you've been paying into a good pension scheme for years, you'll get better benefits than someone who just keened for years. It's not rocket science. Aha!
True. Now, what about healthcare? Getting sick can throw a wrench in anyone's plans. How do Chad and Sudan stack up in this department?
Chad's healthcare system is challenging. Public healthcare is limited, and facilities are often under-equipped and understaffed. Private healthcare is available, but it's expensive and mostly concentrated in the capital. Basically, if you need serious medical attention, you might want to consider a quick trip elsewhere.
That's not reassuring at all. How about Sudan? What kind of medical adventures await you there?
Well, Sudan is slightly better, but it still has its issues. There are public and private healthcare options, but the quality varies widely. You'll find decent hospitals in Khartoum, but in rural areas, access to healthcare is limited. And remember, political instability can disrupt healthcare services.
Both countries have their drawbacks when it comes to healthcare and social security. If you're planning a long-term stay, it's crucial to factor in these realities. Consider private insurance and have a backup plan. Don't rely on hope alone.
Exactly. And do your homework. Find out exactly what taxes you'll be liable for, what social security benefits you can expect, and what healthcare options are available. Don't just wait it. It's your future we're talking about.
Speaking of planning, what if our listeners want more detailed info? Where can they turn for expert advice on this?
Mira, that's where our trusty friends at Jet-Off AI come in. They can provide personalized guidance on all these issues, helping you navigate the complexities of taxation, retirement, and social rights in Chad and Sudan.
Jet-Off AI is like a financial compass, helping you chart a course through these tricky waters. So, be sure to check them out. And while you're at it, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more insightful content.
That's right, folks. Hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment. Let us know what other topics you want us to tackle. And remember, planning for your future in Chad or Sudan? Jet-Off AI is your best bet.
Well, Leo, that was quite the whirlwind tour of taxes, retirement, and social security. Who knew such a dry topic could be so spicy?
Only we could make it spicy, Mira. Until next time, folks, stay informed, stay prepared, and stay tuned to Jet-Off AI and this podcast.
And don't forget, laughter is the best tax break. Bye, everyone. Hello, everyone. Ready for another round of Mira and Leo compare? Today we are comparing Chad and Sudan and Dodidi first. The rate of meeting specific interests, so I'm excited.
All right, Mira, settle down. Chad and Sudan. Sounds like we're about to unearth some seriously obscure hobbies. I'm Leo, by the way, your resident sarcastic observer.
Oh, Leo, you're always so dramatic. But you are right about finding some obscure hobbies. This time, whether it's quirky pottery clubs, competitive camel racing, or underwater basket weaving, okay, maybe not that last one. We'll see how Chad and Sudan stack up for specialized interests.
Underwater basket weaving? Mira, you're giving me material. But seriously, let's see if these countries can cater to anything beyond basic survival. For instance, what if someone's passionate about what poetry slam? Wow, is that even a thing?
If it isn't, it should be. In Chad, you might find interest in local music gatherings, discovering and engaging with traditional instruments like the kend, a type of harp, or the kakaki, a long metal trumpet. Oh.
Instruments? Okay, that's something. Sudan might be more about the stories behind those instruments. And picturing gatherings with old storytellers, sharing ancient tales while sipping strong coffee.
Both Chad and Sudan have rich oral traditions. Maybe there are groups dedicated to preserving and performing these stories. Whoa, someone might be into that specific art.
Right. Well, what about astronomy clubs? With those clear desert skies, you'd think both countries would be backed with stargazers. The only problem is that they're busy surviving to look up.
True. Maybe a survivalist astronomy club. How to navigate by the stars when your GPS dies because a sandstorm ate it. See, Mio? There's always a fun angle.
A survivalist astronomy club, Mira. You're killing me. But okay, what if someone is super passionate about birdwatching? Do Chad and Sudan have much to offer there?
Chad is home to Sahara National Park, which is amazing for spotting tons of bird species. Sudan has Dinjan National Park, also great for bird watching. This is a big plus for bird enthusiasts. Ooh.
Oh? National parks with birds, that's a start. What if we get really niche? Like someone who's obsessed with collecting ancient Sudanese pottery shards.
Maybe. I don't know if there's an official pottery shard collecting club, but you might be able to find local artisans preserving traditional pottery methods. Well, maybe learn from them.
Okay, cultural immersion through pottery. I can dig it. But let's move on. What if someone's really into competitive camel beauty pageants? Is that more of a Chad thing or Sudan thing?
Competitive camel beauty pageants. Is that even a thing? I love it. To the best of my knowledge, it is more of a regional nomadic cultural event. A place for nomads to gather, trade, and show pride in their camels.
Okay, less beauty pageant, more nomadic social gathering. But you know me, Mira. I need details. What specific interests would someone be able to satisfy in these two countries?
You know, Chad has a vibrant culture around Lake Chad, where fishing and traditional boat making could be interesting for some. Sudan also has great potential for exploring the Red Sea coast. The Red Sea coast in Sudan is known for diving. Diving in coral reefs that might catch the interest of those interested in aquatic activities. Oh!
Diving in the Red Sea is something. What about super niche interests like, I don't know, competitive date farming? Do people even do that? Or perhaps collecting vintage Sudanese postage stamps?
Vintage postage stamps? That sounds like your kind of nerdy passion. But who knows? Maybe you could stumble upon a hidden philatelist community in Khartoum. Most specific interest you can pursue is photography. It may be easier to take landscape photos. I think photo safari enthusiasts will like it.
Photography, yeah, I can see that. I mean, both countries have stunning landscapes. Someone can make a killing selling exotic stock photos. But seriously, Mira, let's get back to that date farming thing.
Date farming? As a competitive hobby? Maybe not. Both Chad and Sudan cultivate dates, but it's more of a practical, economic activity. Maybe we need to invent competitive date farming.
All right, Mira. Before you start inventing bizarre new hobbies, let's just this up. We covered a lot of specific interests, from birdwatching to potential pottery shard smuggling. So if you are interested in Chad or Sudan, press like and subscribe.
If you're looking for a place to explore your unique passions and maybe invent a few new ones along the way, Chad and Sudan might just surprise you. Wow. This podcast is powered by Jet Faye. I so check the page for more information. See you next time.